CYBATHLON, where skillful pilots team up with new technologies to accomplish stunning things.
CYBATHLON macht glücklich.
우리가 포기할 수 있는 일들을 가능하게 만들어줍니다.
Wir treten mit und gegeneinander an.
Teams from countries around the globe fight to win the competition. Which team will present the smartest technology? And who has the best pilot? CYBATHLON competitions include 8 disciplines. They all call for skill, precision, concentration, and endurance. Robotic wheelchairs climb stairs. Prosthetic arms feel out and pick up hidden objects. And exoskeletons let paralyzed legs walk again. Intelligent assistive technologies help simplify the everyday lives of people with disabilities. Technology, competitive spirit, emotions. CYBATHLON is all of that.
Hello and welcome to the evening session of this global edition of CYBATHLON 2024. This event, which really is one of a kind, brings together the power of sport and everything that we love about sport with compelling human stories, as well as technology that has been developed, all with the sole purpose of improving the lives of those living with disabilities. The idea and the development of CYBATHLON has originated and continued out of ETH Zurich, the tech university in the heart of the city. The idea actually came from Robert Riener, who we spoke to earlier today, and it continues to light up this part of Switzerland. We're on the outskirts here in Kloten at the Swiss Arena. And usually you can find ice hockey here. Well, for this week only, it has been transformed into an arena for CYBATHLON. 8 disciplines. There are 67 teams coming from across 26 countries. It really is a global event. And in keeping with all things sustainability and equality and that of inclusion, you can compete in your local hub. We've seen that coming out of Vancouver, out of Seoul, out of Korea. Or you can compete here on the track in Kloten, and it's been an extraordinary event so far. We've enjoyed so much. Earlier today, it was the finals. We had finals for 4 disciplines, and they were absolutely thrilling. Here are the highlights.
Emotions were running high this afternoon at the final of the leg prosthesis race. The Italian team Rehab Tech Leg, with their pilot Andrea Modica, scored 90 points and won the gold medal for the fastest time. After the race, he dedicated his victory to Flavio Gaccero, who came in second.
For me, he's the winner, because I am young, he's a little bit older, and for me he's the winner.
The FES final was a fierce battle between Peter van Berg from the Netherlands and Hoon-Sum Lim from South Korea. The pilot of the team B again, Hoon-Sum Lim, crossed the finish line first and took the gold medal. Peter came in second, Andrea Gatti from Italy won the bronze medal, and Nicolaus Telian from Vienna FES came fourth. For Peter, the final was over very quickly.
I give so much adrenaline, so yeah, time seems to go a bit shorter, so you got the time to really try and do your best.
Pressure was on in the final of the arms race. Nicolas Huchet scored 80 points and finished his run with 5.5 minutes, putting under pressure Min Zhu from China. She already had 80 points on her score sheet, but only had 30 seconds left to secure the winning 10 points in the last task. But this woman does not know the meaning of the word pressure and wins the gold medal for her team hands-on. In the last final of the afternoon, the Rob race, Matthias Atzenhofer won the gold medal. And it was very close between the German and his opponent, the French pilot Etienne Moury. Etienne came in first with 90 points. Matthias Atzenhofer was aiming for the perfect run, 100 points. but could not complete the last task in time. But Atzenhofer was still faster than Mouillet in scoring 90 points, so he and his team took the first place.
Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant stuff, and we'll have more great action this evening. The first discipline that's up is the wheelchair race, and in previous CYBATHLONs, this has been dominated by the pilot Florian Hauser. Let's hear from Florian now.
Ich bin der Florian Hauser, zweifacher CYBATHLON-Champion und zweifacher Papi.
At home with Florian and Romina Hauser in Schlien, Zurich. The two are proud parents of twins since 2 years.
Papi ist malen.
Ja.
Also kommt, schaut mal. So, so. Das Velo, das ist ein perfektes Velo. Jetzt machen wir noch das Trotti.
Ja.
Das ist ein sehr ruhiger Moment, ja. Und die sind ja selten. Es gibt so 3-4 Momente am Tag, oder? Und die genieße ich mega. Wenn du damals kurz in der Ruhe bist und wieder siehst, was du alles geschafft hast. Jetzt auch mit Rollstuhl eine wunderbare Frau gefunden. Auch das Geschenk hat, dass wir 2 Kinder bekommen. Das ist ja nicht, das funktioniert nicht ganz normal. Und wenn dann mal die Hektik vom Alltag kurz weg ist, einfach sich mal das wieder bewusst werden, das ist...
Time for lunch. Cleaning, cooking, everything physical is done by Romina because of Florian's disability.
Eigentlich bin ich wende auf die Situation verrückt, wo wir manchmal drinstecken, wenn es besonders streng ist. Und vor den Kindern bin ich halt meistens die Lösung gewesen. Und jetzt hast du halt einfach nur 2 Hänge für 3 Leute anstatt für jemanden.
Hey. Machen wir noch Biene Meier?
Ja.
Nicht? Wow. Seit wir Kind haben, erlebe ich meine Behinderung noch mal ganz anders, oder? Und viel tragischer, als ich vorher nicht mehr wahrgenommen. Und jetzt ist wieder der Rollstuhl im Weg und es schafft eine grosse Distanz zu den Kindern. Bei alles, was sie am Boden machen oder irgendwie nicht in meiner Reichweite sind, habe ich einfach mega Mühe, um den Kontakt zu ihnen herzustellen, mit ihnen spielen, bei ihnen sein. Und das macht mir mega zu arbeiten. Und das einzige Positive daran ist, ich weiss, es wird noch besser. Willst du noch das Licht abstellen? Was dir der Koch her? Papi zuerst runterkommen, dann kannst du zum Papi kommen und dann das Licht abstellen. Und Papi helfen. Ei! Bravo!
Having twins is wonderful, but the burden is double, and especially with a disability.
Oh nein!
Auf einer Seite ist es mega geil. Ich finde es mega cool, sie miteinander zu haben. Sie haben etwas. Du machst alles einmal. Und nachher, wenn sie irgendwie in der Schule in ein Lager gehen, dann gehen sogar beide gleichzeitig und du hast nicht nur eins daheim. Und es erübrigt sich auch mega die Diskussion dem, ja, haben wir jetzt noch das zweites Welle oder nicht? Die ganze künstliche Befruchtung ist nur einmal die Prozedur. Also es gibt vieles, was einfacher ist, aber ich glaube, die ersten 3 Jahre sind einfach spektakulär.
Romina and Florian both work. They met during the rehabilitation phase after Florian's accident. She was his nurse. The two have become closer thanks to the very first CYBATHLON event in 2016.
Also es ist tatsächlich so, dass mein Bruder an der HSR gearbeitet und hat mir angerufen und gesagt, Romina, wir brauchen einen Pilot, wir wollen einen Rollstuhl bauen, der Stegen laufen kann. Weisst du irgendjemand?
Und dann war ich so cool, dass sie gerade an mich gedacht hat.
Genau, und dann dachte ich, der Flo ist doch so eine Rampensau. Und dann habe ich ihm auf Facebook geschrieben, ob er Interesse hat und wenn ja, soll er sich bei meinem Bruder melden. Und dann haben die das tatsächlich zusammen gemacht.
Also zuerst mal hat sie mich ein paar Mal abblitzen lassen.
Weil eben mit Patienten sicher nicht, auch nicht mit Ehemaligen. Also ich bin jemand, der sehr strikt ist mit dem und das ist auch richtig. Und darum ist das für mich auch eigentlich klar gewesen, dass da nie etwas daraus wird.
Florian not only met his current wife at the CYBATHLON, but the now 35-year-old was also extremely successful in sports. In both 2016 and 2020, no one could hold a candle to him. Hauser was the first twice.
CYBATHLON ist einfach super, weil es Bedürfnis aufzeigt. Eine grosse Masse an Menschen. Nur so wird man darauf aufmerksam und so Plattformen sind super. Und was auch ganz schön ist, dass es in einem freudigen Format zeigt, in einem coolen Format. Und nicht mit Klavier untersetzt und einer schaut auf den See raus und erzählt, ja, aber es ist genau das, du findest es cool dort zu sein und nicht schlimm. Parat! Ich kann nicht mit ihnen allein sein. Und gleichzeitig kann aber Romina auch nicht einfach mal sagen, jetzt schaust du auf, Kind, ich gehe. Und je älter sie werden, desto näher kommen sie aber, desto länger kann ich mit ihnen allein sein. Ich freue mich halt mega drauf, dann irgendwann können etwas mit ihnen allein machen. Und im Gegensatz, also im gleichen Atemzug, dass Romina mehr Zeit für sich allein hat. Und das Coole daran ist, es wird nur besser. Also jeden Tag kommen wir dem ein Stückchen näher. Challenge accepted und wir ziehen jetzt durchkommen, was wir wollen. Ja? Und wir bleiben positiv.
Meistens.
Außer wenn wir uns gerade an die Gurgel gehen, aber sonst.
CYBATHLON really does bring people together on so many different levels. Well, the wheelchair race is the first discipline that's up this evening, and joining Bex. Good evening, Laura. Laura will be with Bex, taking you through all the action. These stories, ladies, are just so enriching and compelling.
Yeah, they are. I think you would be completely inhuman if you don't have a little bit of a lump in your throat when you're listening to stories like that, because as you know, we've seen across the entire competition so far, Abby, it is all about technology, but it's all about the human stories behind it as well, Laura.
And the struggles they face during daily life, right?
Yeah.
I mean, these 10 tasks sort of face or mimic some of these challenges wheelchair users face.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's also the beauty of CYBATHLON, to not only try to find a solution, but also make it a really nice sporting event.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is what we're going to see here very shortly, Abby, in the wheelchair race.
Yes, so the wheelchair race, here's everything that you need to know.
Up next, the wheelchair race. Teams will have to complete 10 tasks in total. Here are some of the challenges the pilots will face. In the first task of the race, pilots have to navigate their wheelchairs and position them at the dining tables so that half of their thighs are under the table's surface. They must not move any other furniture to get to the table. Pilots are then challenged to navigate a stony path with their wheelchair. In the second half of the course, they have to bring their wheelchair to a stop at one point before continuing on their path. Then, pilots must pass between two tables while avoiding collisions with the orbiting robots. The next challenge is also pretty tricky. In this task, the pilots must pick up a bottle from the ground and place it on a table. Pilots score 10 points per completed task. Whoever completes the most tasks in the fastest time wins the wheelchair race. Pilots have to complete the race within 8 minutes.
Let's get underway then with the first action on the track here at the Swiss Arena. It is the wheelchair race, and to talk you through it, Laura May-Ribber and first Bex Williams.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Abby. Yes, we can see now our pilots heading out onto the track here at the Swiss Arena, ready to go with the wheelchair race, which will be getting underway in a few moments. The expert alongside me, Laura, is going to be able to communicate everything we need to know about the devices that we see heading out. And it is such incredible technology, Laura, that we're about to witness.
Yes, and I think what is really special also for the wheelchair race is that we have 4 almost completely different devices.
Absolutely, and the teams then, let's have a look at those teams with the 4 completely different devices. As you said, there are the teams listed in front of you that will be making now their run through, and let's learn a little bit more about the pilots.
Die hier starten. On track number 1. Now, on track number 1, we welcome from Switzerland, aus der Schweiz, Team Mobility Enhanced und Pilot Rolf Schoch.
Es interessiert mich sehr, was die Technik angeht an dem ganzen Gerät. Und ich finde es spannend, dass man die Hilfsmittel oder die Technik vorantreiben will und durch das eigentlich in Zukunft eine Erleichterung für einen Rollstuhlfahrer erreichen.
Für uns als Team Mobility Enhanced ist es mega wichtig, dass wir immer die Fähigkeiten der Piloten ins Zentrum stellen. CYBATHLON ist eine super Plattform, um sich austauschen mit anderen Teams. Wir wollen mit all unseren Entwicklungen Technologiegrenzen verschieben. Aktuell sind das vor allem eben Sachen wie geneigte Ebene, die sehr anstrengend sind zum Fahren. Solche Sachen wollen wir lösen.
On track number 2, we welcome all the way from Canada, Team BCIT Make Plus and pilot Jamie Borisov.
I'm Jamie Borisov. I'm the director of BCIT's Make Plus Applied Research Team. Our purpose is to make lives better through creative solutions. I was injured in a motor vehicle accident when I was 19 years old. That accident resulted in me breaking my back and having a spinal cord injury, which means I'm a paraplegic with full function of my upper extremities, but paralyzed from the chest level down.
He's an amazing competitor, innovator, and we're really excited to have him work on the team. We are entering the CYBATHLON to show some of our technology that we've developed in terms of making the built environment and the outdoors more accessible for wheelchair users.
On track number 2, all the way from Japan, we welcome Team OECU NR Techs and pilot Toshiki Ogura.
Team OECU is from Japan. The team's pilot is Toshiki Ogura. He loves cars and motorcycles. The Japanese team is working on an electric wheelchair that can navigate steep stairwells, pick up objects and open doors. Their new prototype, known as the RP Wheel 24 PT, is intended to one day compete with commercial wheelchairs. Ogura and his squad are very experienced and they've been training hard for today's CYBATHLON. Ogura loves speed. How fast will he be in today's challenge?
And now the 4th team in this wheelchair qualification is from Germany on track number 4. Please welcome Team Autark and their pilot Matthias Henkels.
Ich bin Florian Erz, 39 Jahre alt, lebe seit 14 Jahren nach.
Ich bin Mitglied von Autark, weil ich mir vorgenommen habe, die Welt für Menschen mit Behinderung ein bisschen besser zu machen.
We participated before in the CYBATHLON last year in the challenges, and there were quite a few improvements we did. One big issue was that our wheelchair did not have enough power, so we improved this by adding another battery and kind of ramping up the voltage.
Ich möchte beim CYBATHLON teilnehmen, weil die OD von Autark super ist, aber natürlich auch, um sich zu vernetzen und auszutauschen.
Well, there are the pilots then ready to go, and it's worth noting there that for the Autark team it is Matthias Henkels who is replacing Florian Ernst. So you can see Matthias on the track there. Okay, Laura, we are almost ready to go. Yeah. And it's fantastic that we're seeing different teams and very different technology as well. You can see the countdown clock there, less than 10 seconds to go now.
And the leading champion is starting.
Oh, so no pressure.
No pressure,
then.
But they have some titles to defend, so.
Okay, talk to us about this first task we're going through then.
Exactly, so this is the restaurant task, and they have to approach the first table, place at least half of their upper leg underneath the table, then navigate to a relatively narrow space actually. So you see it's a bit tricky, but Rolf is managing this like an expert. And then also approach the second table and again place half of their leg underneath.
Yeah, he's doing this exceptionally well. As he said, there's not a lot of space, and it is maybe a longer,
slightly bigger device, I would say. If you, for example, see the device from Autark or OSCU, it's slightly smaller, but we also know that the device from Mobility Enhanced has the stability, which we can also see in the stair task later on.
Wow, he is, you could see him altering then the form here of the device to be able to tackle the stairs.
They can move back and forth, and here now, very soon, you will see the crawler. So there's this crawler underneath.
Oh, there it is, being lowered.
Goes down. Then the wheels go up, and with the crawler, they have this ability to go up the stairs really, really well. So you see, very, very smooth.
That is quite incredible, isn't it? And such a big thing for wheelchair users to be able to tackle stairs because, you know, as of years ago, that was a big no-no.
Absolutely. And now we can even see some of the commercial devices actually being able to climb stairs.
Such innovative technology. Okay, different machinery entirely here then, because we have what looks more like a trike.
Exactly. So I actually talked to the team and they've been inspired by a hand bike. So a hand bike, you also have 3 wheels, and the advantage is that you can tackle almost any underground. And they, coming from Canada, from Vancouver, they perform a lot of outdoor sports, so they need the stability. And you can see with the device from BCIT, they can either extend their device or also shorten it again, which is really cool.
It is really cool. Okay, let's get back with BCIT then, who have already completed this. Well, they have completed the second task. That's 20 points now in the bag already in very good time.
Yes, so they're quite competitive also again with the Zurich or the Swiss team, with Mobility Enhanced. Here we see our Japanese team, OSCU, also managing the restaurant task really, really well. Again, they have a little bit of a smaller device, as we said before. So I guess
still, it's such a tight area that you've created because, like you said, right at the top of the show, you are trying to create real-life scenarios here.
Oh, no.
Oh, I shouldn't have said that. That's commentator's curse right there, you know?
So here the task was unfortunately failed because the desk was moved.
Okay, so they are avoiding the stairs because maybe their machine, their device doesn't have the capability.
They also have a similar approach with the crawler underneath,
okay,
but they unfortunately had some technical difficulties and they were not able to finalize the task.
Now, we're back with BCIT, and Jamie mentioned in the VT that we saw that he's competitive and he is fast.
Absolutely, and maybe one thing to say as well, Jamie is a Paralympic athlete. He participated in the Paralympics in wheelchair basketball and he won 2 gold medals. So I definitely believe he has the
competitive spirit.
Absolutely.
It's so great to see there's so many pilots here have competed in the Paralympics, and that is, you can instantly see their competitive spirit. Okay, what are we doing here then, Laura?
So here we have the uplift task. So here they try to reach the highest position that they can reach. So for example, here it's the yellow peg that they touch. And in the next step, they have to go underneath the yellow tag.
Further. Okay,
and this is sort of the daily life activity where you, for example, have to reach for something high up in the shelf, or you want to talk to a person eye to eye. So it's really cool if the wheelchair has the ability to go up and down slightly.
Now, Matthias Henkels is underway with Ortak, and as we mentioned before, he's replacing pilot Florian Ernst, who should have been here.
He's actually still in the stadium, so he's there, he's supporting the team.
That's good.
Yeah. And it was really nice because he was also competing in one of the challenges. I think we also saw a brief snippet of this. But it's also nice to see Matthias now showing what he can do.
Absolutely. Okay, now a difficult task here.
I would maybe even say one of the most difficult ones. Because you really have to have good robotic manipulator, because on this side of the door we have a door knob, but on the other side we have a door handle. Yeah. So the device sort of has to be ready to tackle both. And then with the wheelchair in this, exactly.
Yeah, and as you say, with the wheelchair as well to maneuver around.
But I think it's fine, because they have quite a nice technique of then,
grabbing the door and trying to swing that open.
Okay.
So we're on to already now the winding stairs here.
And they're going super fast, because so far they managed every single task.
60 points for BCIT. It's just been incredible, this run so far. And it's another green flag. We're going to be looking at, could we see a perfect score here?
Don't jinx it.
Take those words back. Rewind immediately.
But also maybe an interesting aspect, they're the only team that are attempting the winding stairs. Because it's also so difficult, because it's still quite a different aspect than the normal stairs, because you have the curve in there. So I think it's really impressive that they really try to attempt all of them.
Talk to me about the device then here, because we saw it in the robot assistance races earlier, a different
robotic manipulators.
That's exactly what I was going to say, but thank you. No, that was not what I was going to say at all. But there are differences on here to help and assist in a different matter of means, whether it's doorknobs or else. We're on the last task here now.
We're now at the doorstep, which is maybe slightly higher than what we see in everyday life. But still, it's one thing that really impairs the wheelchair users in their accessibility of different buildings, for example. Not only the stairs, but also if there is a door, that is maybe something not always considered. And again, here the crawler comes out for a very smooth transition over it. And then again, the lift up. You can definitely see why Mobility Enhanced has been so successful in the past, I would say.
This looks so efficient.
And really controlled as well.
And there we go. It is 80 points on the board for Mobility Enhanced.
Really a great result for the first qualification round.
Yeah, and they have set a good time as well. Back with BCIT.
They also managed the door task. And now we go to the rocky terrain, and here they have to stop on the second half. So they cannot go full speed, and they still have to stop.
And that has been introduced to increase the difficulty level of the challenge?
Yes, because also sometimes overcoming those obstacles with a greater speed, it gets more easy. But then if you have to stop, maybe for some it would be a bit tricky.
Okay, we're back with our Japanese team now with Ogura, who is trying to make it over.
And you
backwards.
See,
It's a very different tactic then.
But also again we see the crawler technique, so maybe a bit similar as Mobility Enhanced. But also here they do a really, really good job. And here you can also briefly see the scissor mechanisms where they can, wow!
100 points on the board!
That is absolutely amazing.
7 minutes, 7 seconds.
Wow. This will be really, really tough to beat, I tell you.
It's a time limit of 8 minutes, and he's completed every single task in just over 7 minutes.
And they make it look so easy, right?
They do. This is the astonishing thing about what we're watching. But this is the benefit of the technology and the collaboration, especially as we're seeing with Borisov and his collaboration with the company, his company.
Yeah.
the team members, everyone working together. And it shows when you get to these tasks.
Absolutely, and I think especially in the case of BCIT, Jamie is the director of the lab, so he knows firsthand what are the issues, but he also has the expertise in engineering department to really make those changes. So unfortunately for ACU, the last task didn't quite work out. They were so close. Now we see Autak, Matthias, attempting the door.
So tell me about what they are using here, because we can see a joystick, we can see a big red button there in front of them, and it's it looks very different to what we've seen so far.
Exactly, so this is actually a commercially available robotic manipulator, and he's actually controlling it with the iPad he has. So the big red button that you saw is actually the emergency stop.
Oh, okay.
So in case something goes wrong for the wheelchair. But he's doing a really good job. I think also controlling these robotic manipulators, it's actually quite difficult because it's maybe not always so intuitive. So it takes quite a bit of practice, but...
Oh, he's just lost grip of the doorknob.
And I have to say, I tried it before, and there's quite some resistance to actually turn the doorknob, so it's not an easy task, as I said.
Yeah, it does need, as Felix was telling me earlier, a good bit of torque to be able to manipulate that doorknob and move it.
But we see that they managed successfully the third task, which is the pickup tasks. So there, the robotic manipulator was working well. Unfortunately, they have to skip the task.
Okay, they are still within time limit, though, I believe.
Yes, but I think they will not attempt the last two tasks. But still, I would say a solid 20 points for the first round.
Yeah, it is the first qualifying, of course. So they can have another go at all of these tasks again. And the important thing, Laura, is, you know, the tasks that you're having a go at, to try and complete them.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, this is what it's all about here. Okay, so Autak then have now completed. And we've seen a very different array of styles and techniques, and of course, different technology on offer. Let's take a look at some of the moments back then from this first qualifying round for the wheelchair race.
So that's bad, yeah, that's bad.
I have to say, some of the challenges, Laura, you know, as we've talked about on every single discipline, they are set to mimic everyday occasions, but sometimes a little bit in extreme as well, because all of you have made them, just tweak them to be a little bit of an extra challenge.
A little bit more difficult, exactly. But we also see some of the teams finding some loopholes to actually solve the tasks.
But this is great, isn't it?
This is really nice. So you see really a variety of different approaches. For example, here we see again BCIT, and they have the robotic manipulator on their legs, which is maybe not something you would think of right away, but we see that it works perfectly well.
It seems to have. We'll take a look at different techniques when we come back for the second qualifying, but let's take a quick look at the results from this first qualifying round from the wheelchair race. You can see there Borisov with 100 points, so a perfect score on the board. Then Shock with 80, so that's Robility Enhanced team. Then 30 for our Japanese team, and Autak on 20. That was the first qualifying. The next one coming up. Let's cross out, though, in the moment to Abby.
Bex, thank you. Well, Jamie Borisov, a perfect score there. 100 points is going to be tricky to beat, Jamie. Let's find out more about Jamie Borisov.
Hi, I'm Jamie Borisov. I'm the team pilot for the BCIT Make Plus CYBATHLON team. I'm also the director of Make Plus Applied Research at BCIT. As you can see, I'm a wheelchair user myself. I've been using a wheelchair for well over 30 years now. And you know, you quickly see a lot of the obstacles and barriers that society throws at you. I happen to be an engineer and work in a place that is all about innovation. I get to, bring my own kind of life into my research life and start to design things that I would like. An easier path, overcoming a barrier that I see, and we get to then play with it in the lab and design something, and I get to try it out. It's pretty cool combination.
I have. You know, our original goal when we came across the CYBATHLON competition and wanted to enter it was to extend the work we're doing right now, or we have been doing for several years, around wheelchairs. And that is having wheelchairs be more capable outside in the natural environment. Things like beaches, trails, things that we take for granted in British Columbia and Vancouver, and in other parts of the world, things like snow and winter conditions. We built something the design team is calling the Beast. And that stands for the BCIT Extending Articulating Wheelchair for Serious Terrains. It's kind of a fun name, but it really describes what we've done. We just designed a wheelchair that can tackle off-road obstacles, rocks, roots, trails, hills. But it can also tackle stairs and obstacles on the ground. It can climb over things that wheelchairs can't normally climb over. Doing things that normally it takes maybe 2 or 3 or 4 different types of wheelchairs to do, we have it all done in one package. It's a beast. It's actually not that hard getting into this device, which surprised me a little bit. It's really intuitive to use. As soon as I got into it for the first time, it felt like one of my power assist devices that I use in my own life. It handled kind of in the same way. I'm very confident that our device will be successful in the challenges we tackle. It handled the things really well immediately as soon as we got it together. So I was pretty pleased, but I wasn't surprised either because we did the work. I've been to 4 Paralympic Games playing wheelchair basketball. We do a lot of mental preparation, a lot of physical preparation for playing sports. Here, the physical preparation is really about staying healthy, but the mental preparation is quite similar actually. So I visualize the tasks. Obviously I practice the tasks and go through them as many times as I can, but I can do a pretty good job visualizing them as well. I can imagine I'll be doing it on the trip to Zurich. And we just do a lot of prep, we'll write down a script that we know we'll have to do to be successful. I think we have a chance. We don't really, you never know what the other teams are doing. This is not like, a sporting competition where there's exhibition games and tournaments that lead up to it where you can do scouting and you kind of know what the competition is doing. Our competition is the tasks themselves and our own resources and time limit, really getting it all done. So we know what we can do. I think the BCIT Make Plus CYBATHLON team is a great showcase of what BCIT is all about. And it's just all about innovation for real life. That's exactly what we're doing. We're trying to make a wheelchair that can expand what people in wheelchairs, who use wheelchairs, can do.
What a fascinating video, especially the comparisons between them and this race and Paralympic sport. Certainly the similarities mentally, which he's going to need at the moment if there's something going on with the device, with the Beast. He looks fairly relaxed, so I'm sure they have it under control. Maybe he is tuning it to go even faster. If he goes faster, he's already got a 100% success rate there, and he already had an impressive time. So we'll see in the second qualifying run. We're going to take a short break and we'll come back for that. See you in a moment.
Mein Name ist Michel Fornacier und für mich hat die Zukunft längst begonnen. Mir ist es wichtig, dass Technik der Menschheit dient, sie unterstützt, ihnen Hand bietet und den Alltag so erleichtert. Fortschritt ist Lebensqualität, welche man mit gutem Gewissen auch nutzen darf. In dieser Hinsicht ist EKZ für mich ein verlässlicher Partner, denn sie bieten Lösungen, die mich begeistern.
Willkommen zu Hause, Michelle.
EKZ gestaltet Energiezukunft und versorgt zuverlässig, ökologisch und günstig mit Strom. EKZ, stolzer Partner des CYBATHLON.
Okay, welcome back. It is time for the second qualifying run of the wheelchair race. So over to your commentators, Laura and Bex.
Thank you very much, Abby. Yes, we are looking forward to a second run here. And I have to say, Laura, you know, Jamie Borisov is making it very tough for everyone else around him right now, isn't he? Because the combination of him and the beast was perfect out there.
As we said, or as we heard before, yes, the device is definitely a beast. It can tackle, it feels like almost anything. But I think Mobility Enhanced can go maybe a little bit faster.
Let's find out.
See if Jamie can go a little bit faster as well.
Okay, Mobility Enhanced then underway with the first challenge, which again, exactly the same. We replicate the same ones. We're into the restaurant.
Exactly, so again, they have to navigate between the narrow spaces.
How much has the technology transformed for Mobility Enhanced then over the years? As you said, they have a lot to defend. How much more has the technology grown?
So actually from 2016, the only thing that is the same is the blue cover basically and the seats.
Everything else is different?
Everything else is different.
Wow.
And what is really cool in their team, they have a lot of student projects and each of the students sort of tackles one of the things about the wheelchair.
That's quite incredible that everything has changed. I mean, it's been 8 years, but just in 8 years, it's all completely different.
But also the tasks change slightly. So
That's
you always
true.
have to evolve slightly.
Yeah, absolutely. You're making them a little bit more difficult every year.
But it's really cool. I mean, the team is also working really, really well together.
Okay.
I think they have a really good organization of what still needs to be done, which student can do what, the supervision of the students. So I think that's a really, really nice team to be part of as well.
Certainly sounds like. Okay, we are back then with BCIT here.
Again, slightly bigger device, but he seems to navigate without an issue. So now I think we can see the stairs. They go slightly faster than the Mobility Enhanced team.
Let's take a look at them making their way over the stairs then.
So here in the back, what we see are the so-called spotters. They are here for the safety of the pilot. So if something with the device should happen. Oh.
Okay, so they don't touch it, but he has that acceleration.
Exactly.
And moves his way over. And you know what I found interesting is what he was saying in the video that we just saw, that he wanted to create something which can go over all terrain. You know, if you want to go up onto the trails, into the mountains, then, you know, he wanted to create something that does, because that is what he used to do, and so many people do and want to do. And for snow, for ice in other countries as well, they're trying to create something which is completely across the board, readily accessible.
Precisely, and you can also really see that in the wheels. The wheels are like motorcycle wheels.
Yeah, they are.
They can go off-road, they really have the stability. Now we see Rolf with the pickup task, very smooth. So I talked to one of his team managers before and asked, is Rolf ever nervous? And she said, no, he is so focused, but he is so calm. And I think that's also a quality that is extremely impressive, because if I would be down there, I would be shaking, I think.
Same, absolutely the same. And I think that's what's impressed me as well here, is the composure of these pilots. You know, they're keeping it under control.
And so focused. So super nice. They managed the first task this time. Really
That's
good to see. Now we see Rolf with the Timius. So this is the crowd task, and it sort of should mimic a very busy street or a very busy room where you have to navigate around very narrow spaces.
This has caused a few issues with some of the pilots. It's not an easy one to do at all. And interestingly here then, so the wheels are effectively changing direction.
Exactly, because he's also changing direction with all of his wheels. And here we see it's almost up to a centimeter that he can go through. So I know for this team, they really have the tactics when they have to change direction. Because, I mean, this is mostly the pilot skills, right? It's not the wheelchair that's doing the work, but it's Rolf knowing when to navigate where. And that's, I think, also really, really cool to see in the CYBATHLON. It's not only the device, but also the pilot handling it, right?
Absolutely, it's the handling skills and understanding the environment that they're in.
Now we see BCIT tackling the same task. So again, it's not allowed to touch the orbiting robots. That's why they're red. In general, in CYBATHLON rules, everything that is red should not be touched.
Should not be touched, but he's through that successfully.
Again, very smooth.
Now on to the winding stairs, which, as you said, not many are going to tackle this one.
No, they're actually the only team. So here again, what we saw is that the device lengthens again to have more stability. Oops. And although it looks slightly shaky, it's actually really, really stable what they're doing. Especially what you can see if they're going down. Now they're struggling slightly.
Yeah, he's got it, he's got it.
Especially going down, you can really see how it's breaking and how stable it actually is. It's really cool.
It is really cool that they're able to do that.
Definitely is a beast.
As he described, yeah, it is so multi-functional. Now, as you can see, we're not seeing the green tasks completed here on the screen, but we will update you come the end with everybody's scores, but we're not seeing them for some reason or other. Okay, back onto this task now then.
Back on the uplift. So here we see the Japanese team, and they have the so-called scissor mechanism. So they can move their wheelchair quite a bit up and down. So here the idea is that for the first one, if they reach, for example, the yellow-colored, how do you call it?
Oh, yes, yeah.
Peg, maybe?
Yeah.
They have to go underneath the same color.
I have no idea what we would actually call those, but I'll think of one by the time we get to the final, Laura. Yeah, wooden stick, hanging wooden stick. Let's call it that for now.
So now we see Auta continuing to the next task and already mobility enhanced at the final doorstep task.
Ooh, and we saw this earlier, and we saw great time on the board from them.
I think they're even a little bit faster than during the last round. I'm not entirely sure, but again, super, super smooth.
Ah, that's great. Task
really great
that
performance.
Is a total of 80 points, I believe, on the board.
Yeah. So now we see, they have a really nice technique for closing the door. So they have something fixed on the door handle.
Oh, look at that!
Pull it back.
Shot back.
And again on one of the feet. So they have one foot, for example, for the pickup task for the bottom, and the other one for the door.
Wow. It's just amazing, though, you know, how innovative and creative the team have come up with these ideas. Of,
yes,
absolutely. Okay, we need this kind of grasp for this, we need that for that. Just so many elements are considered and put into place on these wheelchairs.
Now he's up at rocky terrain, so he should not forget to stop. Yes, yeah, perfect.
And it's a green flag.
We may get another perfect run here.
I wouldn't be in the least bit surprised. He has been on impressive form so far this evening.
Absolutely.
Does that continue on?
Oh, one task,
red.
Yeah, one red. I think that was actually the pickup task, because it was maybe task 3.
So 90 points this time. It was a perfect score on the first one. Okay, so we're on to that.
So during the last round, they did not manage, but
let's see if they do now.
Exactly, because I know that their device is able. I saw them do it quite a lot of times. So I really hope for them that they can tackle this task as well.
Okay, and we're back with Matthias at the doorknob here. He has to open the door, close the door, okay? Can this team do it?
So here again, we see the scissor mechanism of going higher with the wheelchair, then the collar is on top. So now I think he will have to shift his weight a little bit, because we saw in the last round that he was a little bit too far in the back, so the wheelchair tilted slightly.
And then one of the spotters actually saved him.
Exactly, one of the spotters had to intervene to guarantee the safety, because that is also what we what is the most important for us, but nice.
I think he's managed.
Yes.
Excellent.
I was so good to see that they were able to improve, because I know that they can do this task, so it's really good to see that they managed.
Ah,
you can see the relief in his face.
He is delighted with that. Ogura has completed for Team OECUNR, and that is 40 points on the board as well. Okay, let's see how Matthias does here.
I believe maybe the grip is missing a little bit for the device here.
It is difficult, isn't it, on that round door handle to be able to get the grip.
Exactly. As I mentioned before, you actually need quite a lot of force to actually turn. It's either you need to have a really, really good grip or a lot of power, a lot of energy to really grab the doorknob.
Okay.
Some disappointment, unfortunately.
Yeah, we've seen it throughout the whole day, haven't we? It's the highs and lows of it all, but some brilliant moments, but I think he's going to bypass, by the looks of things, all the rest of the tasks now, yes. You know, what I loved listening to, Laura, was the little chit-chat between Jamie and the team after he'd had a perfect score, and he's still talking about improvements.
Absolutely. But I think here you can really see the athlete. I mean, what we saw in the video before, he talked about how he envisions the track, how he's practicing for it. I think I hope he will be happy at some point with his performance, but I think he always feels like, okay, there is room for improvement.
Yeah, there's always somewhere to be better. I've met many athletes in my time who just won't settle. There's always something to be improved on, but this technology is impressive to watch, and the fact that it can, you know, open doors. And as you mentioned, there are already, you know, being used around the world, wheelchairs that can move up steps. I've certainly seen videos of it in the past few days of people being able to visit their neighbours they haven't seen for in 5 years because there's loads of steps up to their house, and they have that accessibility, and that's all because technology is being advanced due to fantastic universities, research, students, and plenty of people behind the scenes who are advancing all kinds of different technology to be accessible all around the world. Okay, that was the second run done. Then let's cross out to Abby.
Thank you, Bex. We are now joined by Jamie. Jamie, that was so impressive. 100% score, 10 out of 10 in that first run. You made it look, well, the beast and yourself made it look pretty easy.
Yeah, thank you. That was really exciting, super fun.
It was really interesting. We watched the video of you just between the sessions, and you were saying about the similarities between Paralympic sport. We know that you're a 2-time gold medalist in the wheelchair basketball, and the mental similarities and having to visualize as well. And how did that come into play?
It definitely helps. It was interesting, though, we were talking, 2 of the guys on our team are racers. And I've never raced, actually, and this is a race. In wheelchair basketball, when you make a mistake, you screw up, there's a whistle, there's a timeout, there's halftime. You get to compose yourself, you get to collect your thoughts, and this you can't. You just have to keep going. So, like in the second run on the bottle task, we failed that, and it's like, okay, you have to keep going. So it is different in that regard from wheelchair ball.
And the fact that you can come up with this creative solution, though, that can master different terrains, and again, the staircases, it's just what this can offer to other people with disabilities is just profound.
That's why we do it.
How far can this technology go?
Well, honestly, we have no idea. I mean, we designed for the CYBATHLON. I think we've created a lot of cool technologies. We're not sure where it'll go from here, but we're excited.
It's very exciting. We get to see you in action again in the final, but for now, it was faultless. It was super impressive. Well done to you and your team.
Well, thank you very much.
Whew. Really, really good stuff. And we are now going to turn our attention to a researcher. This lady is equally impressive. She's part of the research and development for the wheelchair race, also for Exoskeleton. Let's hear more from Sylvia Rona.
I like doing that job, to enable people. I'm always thinking about my job, or at least about inclusion. I want to find solutions for this type of barriers. Sometimes when I have ideas, it's in the middle of the night. I have to write them down such that I don't forget them. So for me, it's kind of merged together, my personal life and my job. I have a fascination for geriatrics and for robotics. And this combination led me to a point where I'm in the privileged position to work for a university and to have a huge playground to realize my ideas. I don't really see myself as a boss. I see myself as the person who coordinates a team with a lot of ideas. And sometimes I need to take decisions on my own, but typically we take decisions as a team.
Da ist jetzt leider gerade kein Akku drin. Genau.
Da bin ich noch ganz froh drum.
Ja, ich auch. Und das fährt dann eben autonom mit der Kamera da vorne.
One of the ways we enable creativity in our team is that we provide an environment where people feel that they can be themselves and they can be creative and they can come up with crazy ideas.
Dann wird navigiert, okay.
Und wie weißt du, dass dort das ist, was du willst? Wie kommt das Signal zum Blinden?
Akustisch.
Finding out the right solution in the creativity process is mainly tricky because you need perspectives you need very different perspectives from very different backgrounds. You need to find enough people who contribute before you build something. And that is the tricky part, because it's for a lot of people tricky to come up with ideas based on nothing. Ja, offiziell weiss ich, das Benutzerhandbuch habe ich geschrieben. Aber
das Problem ist, wir haben jetzt hier zwei auf einen Kanal genommen.
Ist aber kein bewegtes Kabel, oder? Das ist,
nein, ist kein bewegtes Kabel, es ist fix, genau.
Ja.
Das ist eine schöne Kabelführung.
The field I'm working in is huge. I don't see a lot of competition there, but I see a lot of opportunities for collaboration. We do have a lot of projects working with the industry, and there, of course, we need to consider the business side. But it's not our main goal. In the context of CYBATHLON, we had other teams here which came here to exchange during the development phase, also during training phase. It's a real collaboration.
Ich will es im Fall trotzdem abschneiden.
And if you imagine the amount of work which needs to be done to reach a good level of inclusion, there's so much work to do. There's no need for competition in that field. Everybody can push their own frontiers, and together you will reach the goal much earlier than without collaboration. I'm just a tall child. I like working with the tools we have. I like to combine technology, I like to combine ideas. It's exactly what kids do on a playground.
The next discipline that is up is BCI, Brain-Computer Interface, and the two pilots are getting prepared at the moment. We've been enjoying BCI over the last couple of days, so let's recap on the highlights of BCI so far.
Two teams competed in yesterday's Brain-Computer Interface race. Antonio Studeni drove for the Austrian team Mirage 91. Kriankrai Tachade drove for Mahidol BCI Lab from Thailand. In the BCI race, the pilots have to complete 5 tasks twice to get 100 points. Antonio from Austria started his second run very well, completing the first task quickly. He skipped 2 tasks to try and complete the 4th, which took him a while. Antonio scored 20 points, while his opponent Kriankrai Tachade from Thailand failed to complete a single task. Tachade was understandably disappointed at the end of the race. There were some fierce battles in the second qualification race. Francesco Betteia from Italy and Owen Cullum from Ireland both scored 50 points. but Francesco and his WHI team were quicker in solving the tasks, and that's why they are now leading the table.
That's all you need to know, and if you're just joining us on the live stream, well, welcome. Let's bring you up to speed then on BCI. Here's what's going to be in store in this race.
Up next, the brain-computer interface race. Professor Luca Tonin explains how the BCI method works.
We use it to try to decode the intention of the user and translate them into commands for external devices.
The brain-computer interface race includes 5 types of tasks. They all have to be completed twice. In the first task, pilots navigate a wheelchair avatar through a virtual room. The goal is to reach the door located at the far end of the room. Furniture and robot vacuum cleaners obstruct their path. In another task, pilots have to control a virtual robotic arm. The task involves positioning a glass under an ice machine and holding the glass still until all ice cubes have landed in it safely.
The pilot has to think to his own body. So this is called kinesthetic imagination. So the point is that the pilot has to think about his right hand, for instance, in order to make the system to recognize that he wants to go to the right, for instance.
In a further task, the pilots are required to position a cursor on a screen and click on a target icon. And then the pilots must navigate a key to the lock and turn the key to open or close the door. Pilots can score 10 points in each task. Whoever completes the most tasks and clocks the fastest time wins the race. However, pilots must complete the tasks within an 8-minute time limit.
Such interesting technology, and for the pilots themselves, it demands so much concentration. To talk you through the BCI races, Bex and Ingrid.
It is, Abby. Thank you very much. Yeah, Ingrid, we're back again for the qualifying session. We're going to find out exactly where our teams are heading from for what is going to be a really exciting qualifying session here in BCI. So let's take a look at our map and discover the teams. So here we go then for what is going to be one of our final qualifying sessions of the day. Not too many left, of course. We are going to be keeping it here in base with 2 of our pilots, but we are heading to a remote hub in America as well. Okay, let's find out a little bit more about the pilots.
Pennsylvania. And let's take a look at the teams lining up. And as you can see, the beauty of this competition being that it has many local hubs. There we see the team over in Pittsburgh. That is Team Pit Crew and their pilot, Philip.
I have 4 electrodes on the surface of my brain.
It's okay, you get a revenge, eh? It's coming back.
Me being a C4, Asia 8, quadriplegic, I can't move my arms and my legs, but still trying to make a difference. I want to be able to do stuff. I already got the purpose.
Oh, there you go, I made you. Phil will be our main pilot and extremely competitive, enthusiastic, so we're really ready to take this race on.
I was like, let's do it. Like, this is an opportunity of a lifetime, so I want to do it, and I want to do it well.
And from Pittsburgh, back here in the Swiss Arena in Zurich, we say welcome to the team from Germany, Team Neurotome, and their pilot, Leon Jokinen.
Also mein Name ist Leon Jokinen.
Ich studiere an der LMU Medizin.
Leon is currently focusing his studies on neuroanatomy.
There's has to be a big cooperation between the pilot and the technical system that we're building, both on the side that we both have to keep working on the stuff, but also that we try and create a system that works the best for him. So we talk to him a lot. What kind of visual feedback would he rather have, or what kind of mental task would he rather create? So yeah, we call this kind of like human-centered design.
Bin ich in Kontakt gekommen mit dem Team und es hat gleich gefunkt, sagen wir mal. Das hat gleich Spaß gemacht und ich habe mich dann ziemlich schnell committed.
And the third team here in Zurich with us, lining up in this qualification group for the BCI. From Italy, we welcome team WHI students and their pilot Filippo Baldrin.
Ciao, sono Filippo Boldrin, ho 19 anni e frequento l'Università Telematica Pegaso, corso Statistica e Big Data. Sto partecipando al CYBATHLON perché mi ha informato la mia fisioterapista di questa opportunità. Ho provato e mi piace molto quello che fanno e quello che potranno sviluppare con questo progetto. Da marzo che ho iniziato a fare il pilota della BCI, grazie all'aiuto dei 6 ragazzi che sono con me, sto imparando cose nuove su questo progetto, a comandare grazie alla forza del pensiero e sperimentare cose nuove.
So we've met our pilot, so we're very much looking forward to the race starting. Ingrid is next to me. Ingrid, you caught up with our 2 competitors here, our 2 pilots. What's the feeling like ahead of the race?
They are nervous, they are excited, and I think they just want to get started now and yeah, do this.
Extremely nervous then ahead of it all, and you know, there's a great atmosphere in the arena. We talked about this earlier when we had BCI earlier on in the day, that the fact that there's a lot going on around them, and normally when they are, you know, competing essentially or playing this game, they're maybe within a university lab or wherever, but it's quiet. There's not a lot going on here. We have noise, there's distractions. There's lots to talk about with this one. Not only the fact that we have 2 pilots here, but we also have Philip from Pit Crew in Pittsburgh as well. But Philip's technology is a little bit different. Tell us why, Ingrid.
It's a lot different, actually. So
that was me trying to underplay it, yes. But Ingrid's like, no, it is massively different. Tell us why.
So we can, first of all, we can just see how he's cruising through this room.
Wow, that's straight away.
That's a record, yes. So as we said, it's a very different technology. So all the other teams, they measure brain activity from outside of the skull, while Philip, he has implanted electrode arrays in the brain. So the signal quality is just much, much higher. It's more accurate, and it allows him to solve these tasks very, very fast.
And how new is that technology then to actually implant?
Yeah, it's definitely newer than the other technology that we can see, and that these electrode arrays are implanted in humans. I think it's about 20 years. I don't want to say anything wrong, but it's the first trials, I think, started, 10 to 20 years ago.
So, you know, in terms of decades, still relatively new, and still being discovered. But, you know, you mentioned earlier that it would definitely be a talking point this evening, and he is really going through these tasks very, very quickly indeed. There's already 20 points in the bag here for Philip. And that is another task passed effectively. You can hear the team around him. Let's turn our attention now to Leon Jokinen, known as Yoki.
Yes.
Okay, talk to me a little bit about the team here, about Neurotum and Yoki and their collaboration.
Yeah, so this is a student association. So they just founded this student club, and it's focused on neuroengineering, but it's students from an interdisciplinary background. So they have neuroengineers, students from medicine and engineering and computer science, and they gather together to make this BCI work.
That is quite incredible, isn't it? And yeah, with great success as well. And again, we can see the word success being related to the pit crew team here, because that is now 40 points banked by Philip. Okay, we're with WHI students now, and Filippo Baldwin. Okay, we're back then. We've come back to the same task now. We're on to the vacuum cleaner at the end task.
So the first 5 tasks are passed.
That's amazing work, isn't it, from Philip?
Yes, yes. So one of these arrays is implanted in the area of his brain that is controlling hand movements. So when he is imagining or attempting to move his hand, it can really like extract the fine-tuned movement attempt and use it for a very fine-tuned control of the wheelchair as well.
Yeah, and that is very evident, isn't it, from what we're seeing here, that it is extremely effective.
Yeah, and they are also able to decode kind of directional movements, so they can also rotate and move forward at the same time, which is something that with the other technologies is very challenging to do.
60 points in the bag for Philip. Still then, obviously, Ingrid, for him, the concentration level's the same. He's still having to have all of that focus, but it's shorter for the signals to be communicated, to reach what he's doing.
Yeah, there is less noise. So since we measure outside of the skull, which works kind of as an insulator of the brain, and also the spatial resolution is just way lower with electroencephalography, which the other technology is called that we're seeing here. So it's always a kind of a mix of signals that we get.
It's quite incredible. Also, Filippo Baldwin has 10 points on the board here for the first task passed. And that is 80 now for Philip. I mean, could we see a perfect score here, Ingrid?
I was just thinking the same. I think we might. We
might see it.
Let's not jinx it, but
yeah, let's not jinx it for him. I mean, we're doing well on time here. It's an 8-minute time limit, and we're only 4:40 at the moment. So he has time certainly on his hands. Filippo Baldwin with another 10 points in the bag.
Great. So the only thing that could happen here is that by accident, Philip is sending a wrong command that is leading to a task fail. So but as long as he really manages to not cause a task fail, I think he has more than enough time to finish this race with 100 points.
With every single point awarded, the team clapping is just getting bigger and louder.
Yeah.
He's doing such a supreme job here. Let's see if he can get these final 10 points in the bag for a perfect score in BCI. Is it possible?
Yeah, now he just needs to avoid all the red objects, also this moving vacuum cleaner, and then he's
good to go. He's almost there.
Yes.
And there we go. 100 points on the board. It's a perfect score for the pit crew team and for Philip. I loved his vibe earlier in the video we saw. He said, I just want to go out there and do things. I want to do stuff. He's done that right here. Let's go back with Filippo Baldwin now then. 3, sorry.
Oh, and just
now 4 completed tasks on the board.
Fantastic performance.
This is great from Filippo. Okay, he's skipped that task. And we move on then to the computer screen.
We can see him navigate
So remind us what they have to do here, Ingrid, and the separate functions they need to perform.
Yeah, so here they have to navigate first the cursor, so they have to move it on the correct field, which is indicated in yellow, and then they have to send another command, which is basically a right or a left click if we think about a computer screen. So it requires a lot of fine-tuning in the navigation that is working a little bit like a joystick, so you set the rotation and then you move forward or backward. And then the click. So it actually needs a lot of different commands that are sent.
One thing we haven't talked about, Ingrid, while we watch now to see if Filippo can carry this out, is how BCI is used for rehabilitation, as a tool in rehabilitation. How important is that?
Yeah, so on the one hand, and also as we see it here, it can be an assistive device, but it can also be used in rehabilitation, for example, for stroke patients, because it has been shown that when we imagine movements, although we can maybe not execute the movements yet, which is sometimes the case early after a stroke, it can help with recovery.
It's such important technology, and it is moving forward with every single month that passes us by. We're with now Leon Jokinen. Did you catch up with Leon before the race got underway?
I think they had some technical issues right before they started. So the team they were running around catching some stuff, and so I hope they managed to resolve everything in time.
Yeah, let's hope so.
But it definitely didn't help to remain calm before the race. Wow.
I mean, Filippo is doing well here. It's 50 points on the board now.
He's the newcomer of EG BCI, definitely.
Yeah, and he's very young as well, isn't he? You know, you mentioned earlier, he was very nervous before the start, but all those nerves seem to have been put aside right now because he is racking up the points.
Yeah.
This is such a difficult challenge because you've got the 2-in-1. You have to move that robotic arm, put the key in the keyhole and turn it as well.
Exactly. And I think a lot of pilots are skipping this task, so now I think he's attempting it because he has the time to try it.
He could potentially, if he can manage all of this, he could potentially be second, because you know we saw the morning run was very strong actually, wasn't it? But what can he do now? And we've got a minute left to go. And the task has been skipped. Okay.
So now he
less than a
uses
minute.
The last minute to race through the vacuum cleaners.
Are we going to see a last-minute thriller? That seems to be the case. He can't.
Oh no. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't touch the plant pot. It was a good attempt, though.
It was a great attempt.
Exceptionally quickly in that final one, but all three of them have completed, and for Philip, it is a full point score on the board. Maximum points for the pit crew team here at the BCI qualifications. Filippo, though, showed well. Considering he was so nervous before the start, that was a really strong performance to take 50 points in the bag.
He seems very relieved now.
I'm sure there's a huge amount of relief, especially if he had so much nerves before the start, because it has gone really, really well. We're hopefully going to be getting you some results very shortly. Like you said, though, there was a little bit of stress beforehand with the technology prior to Leon getting started on this, so maybe a little bit of a distraction. But look at Philip; he is he should look ecstatic right now, because that was a brilliant performance that we witnessed. Very, very precise and fast.
Yeah, I think in the second attempt he's just going to try to beat his own score.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. The rival he's got is himself out there right now. But that's the great thing, that they will get a second attempt now. And for Yoki in particular, he's got another crack at it, and he can have another go, and we'll see if it will get any better second pass through, which I'm sure it will. All those nerves would have calmed a little bit as well. We've already had one qualifying session here. The crowd are getting behind the pilots. It's a good atmosphere in the stadium. Okay, let's find out where Abby is right now. Over to you, Miss Stevens.
Thank you, Miss Williams. I'm just down here on the track. That was super impressive. But we are going to enjoy a video of one of the BCI researchers, Luca Tonnen, who is also part of the WHI students team. So I'm sure he is very proud of his pilot, Filippo.
I'm an associate professor in computer engineering at the Department of Information Engineering of the University of Padua. The Y team started in 2015 with our pilot, Francesco Bettella, and me and Professor Menegatti, and just a few PhD students. Our BCI is based on non-invasive acquisition technology. What do we ask to our pilots? We ask to do simple tasks. For instance, we ask them to imagine to move the right hand or the left hand. We wanted to push our focus on the learning part of the BCI, because we think that the key point of any BCI system is not the decoder, but is the learning of the pilot. Thanks to this approach, we participated in the CYBATHLON BCI series in 2019, and we succeeded by winning the gold medal. And we replicated the same results in the CYBATHLON 2020 global event. Now the Y team is composed by us, by our pilot Francesco, and 5 PhD students of my lab. The concept, the approach is always the same, to focus on the learning aspect of the BCI, plus we add a multidisciplinary approach in order to face the challenge of the new BCI game. A group of students of my course in robotics asked me to participate in the CYBATHLON event. The Y students team started last year. I think that CYBATHLON is also a good opportunity for them, because they see how this kind of technology can be used by real users in real demanding situations as the CYBATHLON event. In the meanwhile, also the equipment of the lab increased. So we have a smart wheelchair, lower limb exoskeleton, robotic arms, and telepresence robots. The main idea of our research, our neurorobotics group, is to try to translate the human intention into commands for these kind of devices, in order to make these as robust as possible to operate in daily life.
WHI students team, and I can confirm what Bex and Ingrid were speculating. Filippo looked absolutely petrified before that first run. He looks much more relaxed now, ladies. So who knows what he can do in this second qualifying run.
Well, I'm pleased to hear that, Abby, because yeah, we don't want any nerves out there, Ingrid, do we? Especially not in this discipline. You need to be calm. So I'm glad, Abby. Thank you for that. We are going to be taking a look at the standings very shortly for BCI ahead of the next run. And you can see there with the perfect score, it is Philip on the top of the table, then Francesco Bettella in second position. WHI students behind on, well, they're on 50 points also, but obviously a little bit more time. Neuroconcise in fourth at the moment with Owen Collum. So we do have a really interesting array, and this is going to be now second qualifying session coming up. Ingrid, as you said, you know, the only kind of person to compete against himself. Philip is going to try and equal his perfect score again. But I think it was really encouraging, considering all the nerves from Filippo, that he did so well.
Yeah, I'm so happy for him.
Yeah, we all are. Okay. I don't think we're far away from getting going then for the second run. I love these little final moments with the team, little chats, little talks. We've got 15 seconds to go then before we begin. And just a reminder, it is, of course, 10 tasks we're looking at again. We have a time limit here of 8 minutes for them to be completed in. So let's see how our crews do this time around. And immediately, Ingrid, we can see again, you know, Philip is off to a strong start here.
Yes, he's so fast. And actually, I've heard that once in the training he complained because he wanted to go faster. And the team with their control strategy, they can also control that a bit. And he was like, I want to go faster.
Wow. But it just shows the capability of the technology, doesn't it? How successful it is.
Yeah.
Okay, this next one then, Philip has to try and get the ice into the machine, and when that light is on, that means he's ready to accept the ice, yeah?
Yeah, and now it's just crucial to not move away. So we need the green light shining in order to that the ice cubes can drop.
So it's that stabilizing moment then with your mind to keep that in position.
Which is also sometimes difficult.
Okay, that is 20 points then. Again, he's just going for it, isn't he? It's quite inspiring to see this.
Yeah, and actually he told me that in the lab he's controlling a robotic arm, a real robotic arm.
Wow.
And that's what is most fun for him to do as well.
Yeah, going back to what he said in the video piece that we saw earlier, you know, he wants to get out there and do things.
That was just so smooth how he went to this key lock. That was incredible.
I mean, this is pretty incredible, Ingrid. You know, he is kind of so far ahead because the technology that he has is so far advanced.
Yes.
In comparison, but you know, what does this mean for the other teams in this competition right now?
Yeah, I mean, we still want to highlight that the other technologies are non-invasive, which is also a big advantage. Yes.
Because it is, as you said, it's so massively different because he has an actual implant.
Yeah.
Whereas the other technology, as you can see here, it is worn on it's outside. You know, they can take this off. It's gone.
Yes, and that's why we can also use it for rehabilitation or just simply for training. Yeah.
And we saw with Filippo earlier, and we saw with our competitors this morning, that it is extremely effective. I mean, this technology that we're seeing, Jokinen use and Baldwin use, is extremely effective for what they are doing right now. And as you mentioned, for rehabilitation, there are so many different functions of it. I'm really excited to see how it does progress in the future, certainly, because there's so much scope for it. It seems exciting. Philip doing exceptionally well here. We're up to 60 points. And we're just under 3 minutes.
Yes. Yeah, so he might beat his score.
He may well beat his time. He moves back then to the computer screen. And we'll come back to the other competitors as well. But you can see Philip is almost complete with all of his challenges here. Got 2 more to go. Not quite as smooth as the first key, but almost.
But it's such a fine-tuning. Yeah. But still extremely fast.
One more game.
And now I think he just goes for it. Wow, okay.
Oh my goodness. 3, wow. The time is just incredible from pit crew and from Philip. That's amazing. 100 points and a record time there. And that's the reaction we were waiting to see, that smile.
We can hear the excitement from
that's great. Back on the arena floor here, we have got Leon Jokinen with 10 points and now Filippo Baldwin with 10 points as well.
Oh, but it's great to see that it works better this time for Yoki and the Nero team.
Yeah, so much better. Obviously, whatever happened before, that's past now. He's got 10 points in the bag. It is going better, and that does, builds a bit of confidence as well, doesn't it?
Yes, definitely. And I think it's so impressive that this is really a students team and they built this whole BCI pipeline from scratch. none of them had experience with it, and they just started it, and yeah.
The skills involved are just, the skills involved, but also the confidence to do it and the want to do it as well. I think, you know, they are visionaries, and they are doing such a fantastic job. And that job will continue on. This is a development process. It gets better and better. We've seen in so many disciplines. We just had the wheelchair race. Laura was telling me from 2016 CYBATHLON, Robility, one of the teams, their equipment, their device has completely changed. There's maybe one element that is exactly the same as it was then. And that's just 8 years.
Yeah, it moves so fast. It moves so fast.
It does move so fast.
Yeah, I met some of my friends who came today. They were in the audience, and they were here in 2016 and also volunteered back then. And they were just so impressed by how much more difficult the tasks are and how the technologies have developed in this time. So,
but this, you know, I love the fact that you're highlighting, you know, the team behind the pilots here, because that is all important. And for a number of the teams, they are students.
Yes.
And, you know, they are, you know, learning themselves and developing themselves. And I love seeing that element. We are still with Jokinen now, then Joki.
He's
just knocked over the plant, unfortunately, so that's a task fail. But Filippo Baldwin on 20 points. He did score, he was 50, I think, wasn't it, on his first qualification attempt. I find this one particularly difficult because, as you mentioned before, you know, they're turning their wheelchair here, but they've got to time it so well.
Exactly. So they have to set the rotation, and they need to like stop turning at the right time, and then also sometimes it's just so difficult to avoid the moving obstacles as well. So.
Okay, that is Filippo Baldwin, who has then completed 20 points in the bag. It was a better first qualifying run for him. Let's go back to Joki. And we're faced with these dual vacuum cleaners of doom. Oh no! So unfortunate, unfortunate. Just caught by the vacuum cleaner there, but points on the board this time around, which is far more positive than that opening qualifying round. So all of our pilots then have completed their second qualifying session here in BCI. Some with better results than others from the first time around. Filippo did much better in the first one, and maybe that is surprising because of the nerves, but maybe the nerves helped in a way. And there is Philip then in the remote hub in Pittsburgh. It has been a fantastic run for him. For everyone, you know, it's difficult to come in here onto the arena floor as well for these pilots and to fully concentrate and to not be distracted by everything that's going on around, and the fact that it's qualifying, Ingrid.
Exactly, and also to concentrate for 8 minutes straight, and then another 8 minutes. That's not easy at all.
It is, it really is. So you can see Philip there from pit crew is at the top of the table. Francesco Battella then next, then Filippo Baldwin and Owen Collum, the top four. And then beneath then Shorto, Studeni and Jokinen. Jokinen, of course, who we've just seen right now on the floor here in the Swiss arena. Those are the results. And of course, we'll move into finals mode tomorrow. Ingrid, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Let's head out then and find out where Abby has taken herself to right now.
Hi Bex, I'm at the side of the track and we are going to head in to Pittsburgh, virtually of course, and speak to Philip. Philip, first of all, congratulations, 100% score, a perfect score on both of your qualifying runs. How was the experience for you?
How was the experience?
Yeah.
It was fun. You know, I just tried to relax and push through. I was having a little trouble with my right, going right a little bit, but once I got relaxed, it started easing up a little bit.
And tell us about the technology, because we're here in the arena in Zurich, and the other pilots that we've seen in BCI have a skull cap that's attached on the outside of their skull. For you, obviously, it's a different technology, and it's advanced, and it's obviously very successful.
So I have 4 electrodes on the surface of my brain implanted into the motor and sensory cortex for my right arm. I had to undergo surgery for it, and it, allows me to have a stronger connection than I would if I had a cap on.
Well, we certainly saw that. And Philip, you are super competitive, because it was a perfect run in your first qualifying one, and then you shaved off about a minute in your second one.
Yeah, I'm definitely competitive. I just tried to take it as best as I.
Philip, I think we might be losing you. Oh, you're still there. Philip, it's just been extraordinary to watch you, and the inspiration that gives on this technology that I know has been being developed, but is constantly being developed, and what this could mean for the future. What would you add to that on the impact this might have on other people's lives?
I think that BCI in a whole is incredible, and the technology that the University of Pittsburgh is developing is like next level. I mean, to be able to make this accessible for people around the world that are just like me and have upper body mobility issues would be incredible. It would change the lives of so many people.
Well, Philip, you're being such a trailblazer for that. It's so inspiring. And what does this mean also? And you're here coming in live, I'm going to tell you, into the arena in Cloton, and the applause that you're getting is just huge. It's so great. And obviously this is also going out on the stream worldwide. But for you and your team, how great is this moment as well to see what is, an extraordinary development in technology?
They've worked tirelessly for years and years to develop this technology. I've watched for a long time until I became implanted, and I see why this technology is so important, and I couldn't have done it without them.
Philip, great words. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. It's been even more of a pleasure seeing you in action in that BCI race, and we will see you tomorrow, and no doubt you will be going for gold. But for now, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to head over to Luca Tonin, who is one of the researchers behind BCI. So we'll grab a word. Luca, and you've got to be delighted because you're also part of the WHI students team, and he did so well, Filippo.
I'm really happy for both the teams, for the Y team and the Y students, and I'm really proud of all of them.
Yeah. BCI as a technology is extraordinary. What we've just seen there and spoken to Philip about as well is just seeing how far this technology can go and the lives it could impact.
Actually, I think that in the future we can have a huge impact, but the point is we have to still pushing to make this robust, and CYBATHLON is an event that asks us to make all this the technology as robust as possible.
How do you see this technology advancing, Luca? What else needs to be done so that this becomes more readily available, more accessible to more people?
I think that, again, the technology, we should test our technology outside the lab. So we need to have a technology that is efficient, that is reliable, and that is robust in every situation, like in the arena here, because it's a really demanding situation. And
yeah, and how impressed with you with what you saw also coming from Pittsburgh and Philip there, and having the surgery to have those electrodes implanted in his brain?
the control that they have, it's really, really impressive, and I'm really happy also for them. I'm on the non-invasive side, and I think that the non-invasive BCI plus the robotic intelligence we can fuse together to have a similar performance like the invasive technology.
That's really interesting. So is there really two schools of camp on this?
Yes, it's not a school. We are all in the research, so we are trying to make something to make the life better for this in this field. But I think that we have to exploit what we have, the robotic, the intelligence of the robotic, and to use non-invasive BCI system. Also because this can be a technology that can be used by more people.
Okay, that makes total sense. We've got more activity going on. What have you been thinking in your experience of the whole CYBATHLON 2024?
I'm really happy. It's a really great atmosphere every time that I come here. It's really, really nice. All the research teams, the pilots, and also to interact with them. It's really, really nice.
Luca, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the event. We are going to take a very short break. When we come back, it will be the Vision Assistance Race. See you then.
Mein Name ist Michel Fornasier und für mich hat die Zukunft längst begonnen. Mir ist es wichtig, dass Technik der Menschheit dient, sie unterstützt, ihnen Hand bietet und den Alltag so erleichtert. Fortschritt ist Lebensqualität, welche man mit gutem Gewissen auch nutzen darf. In dieser Hinsicht ist EKZ für mich ein verlässlicher Partner, denn sie bieten Lösungen, die mich begeistern.
Willkommen zu Hause, Michel.
EKZ gestaltet Energiezukunft und versorgt zuverlässig, ökologisch und günstig mit Strom. EKZ, stolzer Partner des CYBATHLON.
So as you can see, we are now setting up the stage for the Vision Assistance Race, which we haven't had yet. So this is going to be the first time we see it in action. And again, it's going to be another extraordinary discipline, we are sure. But let's enjoy now the spotlight on one of the pilots that will be competing in this Vision Assistance Race. And she'll be competing for Team AI.
Depuis toute petite, j'écoutais les documentaires animaliers, j'allais à des expositions de sciences. Enfin, j'ai toujours été passionnée par la biologie et je voulais vraiment continuer à faire de la biologie, mais je savais que ce serait très compliqué parce que c'est une discipline très visuelle. Mais je me disais que j'aurais des regrets si j'essayais pas de faire ce que j'aime, donc je me suis lancée dans des études de biologie. Moi, j'aimerais devenir chercheuse en biologie, enfin, obtenir un poste permanent dans la recherche. J'aime la recherche parce que j'aime résoudre une énigme, j'aime exprimer de la curiosité et répondre à une question de science. Je suis née très malvoyante, mais il me restait un petit peu de vision centrale. Donc j'ai vu les couleurs pendant quelques années et j'ai d'ailleurs commencé à écrire en noir, mais en très gros. Et donc très rapidement, on m'a proposé de passer au braille. Et là, c'est progressivement que j'ai perdu tout mon reste de vision centrale. Donc moi, j'ai vraiment une grosse tache au milieu de mon champ visuel. J'ai pas de vision des couleurs ni des détails. Et par contre, il me reste un petit peu de vision périphérique, donc je peux percevoir le mouvement sur les côtés. Et d'ailleurs, quand j'essaye de voir quelque chose, en fait, je décale mes yeux sur le côté. Et je suis très éblouie par la lumière. Pendant mes études, c'est sûr, j'ai dû développer différentes stratégies pour compenser mon handicap et accéder à des cours très visuels. Ces stratégies, c'était parfois tout simplement d'avoir des animaux en plastique, des insectes en plastique pour pouvoir me les représenter. Des fois, c'était d'utiliser de la pâte à modeler pour modéliser des embryons, des Lego pour modéliser des molécules. Donc, ça pouvait vraiment être des choses comme ça très, très concrètes, quoi. Il y avait aussi le fait d'aller voir les enseignants. Et effectivement, pendant la licence, en fait, petit à petit, j'ai constitué un groupe de travail avec différents élèves qui pouvaient avoir des difficultés. Et petit à petit, on a commencé à travailler ensemble et c'était vraiment des très beaux moments de partage. Avec un ami qui est astrophysicien déficient visuel, on développe un projet qui a pour but de faire une plateforme de formation aux sciences pour les déficients visuels. Il y a des choses qui étaient frustrantes pour moi quand j'étais petite. Ne pas pouvoir faire de vélo, ne pas pouvoir courir après un ballon, voilà, c'était assez frustrant pour moi. J'ai compensé ça en apprenant à aimer la lecture. Quand j'ai appris le braille, pour moi c'était trop bien, j'avais accès à des livres et je lisais énormément. Ça m'ouvrait à plein de mondes imaginaires dans lequel il n'y a pas de handicap. Voilà, quand il y a des dragons et des fées, on s'en fout du handicap. À propos du CYBATHLON, j'aime le fait que ça encourage l'innovation technologique au service des personnes en situation de handicap. Même si en soi, il y a certaines situations dans le cadre du CYBATHLON qui ne se rencontrent pas exactement telles quelles dans la vie réelle, ça donne des idées, ça encourage à innover dans ce domaine. Et j'aime aussi le fait que ça sensibilise énormément de monde au handicap. Moi, personnellement, je suis assez compétitive. Et donc, je dirais que mon défi personnel, c'est de rester concentrée, de ne pas vouloir aller trop vite pour faire les choses au mieux.
Elle s'entraînait beaucoup pour une compétition. Elle mettait assez la pression, mais voilà, je sais qu'elle va gérer et elle est incroyable, Salomé.
You'll be able to see Salome competing very shortly. For the Vision Assistance race, Bex has a new expert with her. Welcome, Julia Amos.
Hey, there we go. Julia is alongside me. Yes, Abby, thank you. We saw that wonderful video there. You know, it's great to hear these stories, isn't it? About
it is, yes.
You know, the human life behind the technology that we're seeing. And I have to admit, she sounds like an extremely competitive person.
She is very competitive. I could also see during the trainings that they were doing really well. You could really tell that she practiced a lot. So I'm very excited to see them perform today.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, Abby. We have, of course, the qualifying sessions coming up for the visual discipline. And I think we saw a little bit in rehearsals, and Julia was chatting to me about it earlier this week. And there's so many different facets that we can talk about when we do get, of course, into qualification mode here. And it will be, of course, the last qualifying sessions of the day as well. So we're very much looking forward to it, Abby. Hopefully you are too.
Yeah, absolutely. We all are. And they are still getting set up around us. And because this event, at the heart of it, is equality and inclusion, it was integral that we also had sign language available. Let's discover more.
Schildkröte. Wenn man sich schämt, kann man so.
The two students in class, they practice using a role play.
Ich finde es faszinierend, dass es halt eine visuelle Sprache ist. Quasi eine dreidimensionale Sprache. Es ist eine andere Form von Kommunikation und trotzdem ist es eine Sprache wie andere auch. Es gibt eigene Stil, es gibt Kunst in Gebärdensprache und so weiter. Also es ist alles möglich, einfach anders und das ist einfach extrem interessant.
Künstler, die müssen ja dann auch in die drei verschiedenen.
Since they started studying to become a sign language interpreter, a lot has changed in their lives.
Also ich will schon sagen, dass es sehr meinen Alltag bestimmt, dass ich auch daheim interessiert bin an Sendungen, die auf Gebärdensprache übersetzt werden, dass ich Sendungen anschaue, dass ich Veranstaltungen besuche, also auch im freiwilligen Rahmen, im privaten Rahmen gehe ich schauen, was läuft, was bewegt Gehörlose, also dass man auch in der Kultur halt wirklich mit dabei ist.
Ich merke, seit ich angefangen habe zu studieren, höre ich den Leuten zu und versuche immer mehr so, was ist eigentlich deine Kernaussage, so rauszufiltern. Also ich habe das Gefühl, ich kommuniziere besser, weil ich versuche, Kernbotschaften zu verstehen, bevor ich etwas sage. Ich merke aber auch, dass es auch immer wieder mal viel Blabla gibt. Das ist normal, so sind wir Menschen, dass wir Sachen sagen ohne Inhalt, oder? Reden aber doch nichts gesagt.
gebracht, das muss man sagen. Ja, das stimmt, ja. Aber ich glaube, würde auch günstiger wären.
Sign language is very diverse and demanding.
Es gibt verschiedene Dialekte, die einen verwenden verschiedene Wörter und so weiter. Also Sprache ist Kultur, ist Identität und das ist in der Gebärdensprache nicht anders. Die unterschiedlichen Charaktere können zu verstehen und zu übersetzen, das ist eine Herausforderung.
Kinder und gehörlose Kinder in Kontakt kommen. Wenn wir jetzt ein bisschen mehr ich will das machen. Ich will am liebsten jetzt schon rausgehen, arbeiten. Und ja, das Herzblut ist da. Also, dass ich weiss, hey, in einem Jahr bin ich Gebärdensprachdolmetscherin, mit dem kann ich mich identifizieren.
In unserer Klasse hat niemand familiären Hintergrund. Wir sind alle da, weil wir das einen faszinierenden Job finden, eine faszinierende Sprache. Und ja, das ist unser Traumberuf.
Lecturer Michelle Berger has been fighting for more inclusion for deaf people for years.
Covid hat sehr viel ausgelöst, wo auch Gebärdensprache und Verdolmetschung im Fernsehen auf dem SRF 1 zu sehen waren. Und das hat sehr viel Aufmerksamkeit bewirkt. Und die Leute sind ein bisschen bewusster geworden. Und das hat schon sicher einen Schub gegeben. Aber wir sind noch lange nicht dort, wo wir müssten sein.
Ich würde mir wünschen, dass mehr Menschen verstehen würden, wie wichtig es ist, zu verstehen und zu verstanden werden. Es ist ja nicht nur, dass die Gehörlosen die Hörenden verstehen, sondern dass auch die Hörenden die Gehörlosen verstehen. Das ist auf jeden Fall auch auf beide Seiten und dass sich so auf gleicher Augenhöhe begegnen und sich austauschen.
Und ich glaube, dort kommen wir dann ins Spiel und eben die Brücke schaffen, oder dass überhaupt die Möglichkeit besteht, für beide Parteien miteinander zu kommunizieren.
Both are looking forward to their participation in the CYBATHLON.
Ihr lebt Inklusion vor oder ihr versucht neue Ansätze zu liefern, wie Inklusion kann funktionieren. Ich habe das Gefühl, im CYBATHLON wird die Vision Inklusion neu gedacht und es werden neue Inputs geliefert und neue Ideen gezeigt und diskutiert.
Ich glaube, herausfordernd wird der Wortschatz, dass man sich gut vorbereitet. Ich glaube auch, ja, es ist ja sowieso immer herausfordernd, Dolmetschen, den Input und dann umwandeln in einen Output. Oder? Also ich glaube, es wird tough und ich glaube, es ist eine rechte Herausforderung. Ich glaube, man muss sich einfach wirklich gut vorbereiten.
They do such a wonderful job and long hours too, but so important for inclusion here at CYBATHLON. The last discipline of day 2 of CYBATHLON 2024 is the Vision Assistance Race. So let's find out what we can expect in this.
The next CYBATHLON challenge discipline today, the Vision Assistance Race. One of the tasks pilots have to complete is to navigate a forest landscape with objects at different heights, such as branches hanging from trees. Pilots are asked to navigate through the maze of randomly positioned objects. Then they follow a footpath without touching the ground along the path. Again, the course runs in various directions. Pilots have no knowledge about the route in advance. Next, pilots are asked to order a fruit salad by pressing the corresponding icon that is randomly placed on a touch screen. They must not touch any of the other icons. And then pilots are required to identify empty seats, as they would be required to on a train or when visiting a theatre. Once they have found free seats, they indicate their choice by removing the corresponding small blocks. Pilots earn 10 points for each task. Whoever completes the most tasks in the fastest time wins the race. The time limit in this race is 8 minutes.
So that is the explainer, and to talk you through the action, Bex and Julia.
Thank you very much, Abby. Better move off that track. Let's get ready. We're about to get going. Julia, what are we expecting to see from these qualifying sessions?
I think we are expecting to see a lot of really diverse tasks. A lot of them are about navigation, but there are a few other ones that are about handling really fine motions. So I think some of the devices are going to be better in some of the tasks, while others are going to be better at the like navigation tasks, so it's going to be interesting to see how they tackle these tasks.
Yeah, it really is going to be interesting to see how they tackle the tasks. And obviously we have a little bit of noise in the stadium this evening. Does that affect in any way?
I hope not, but a lot of the teams are relying on acoustic feedback, so it could be that with the nervosity, like because they're also quite nervous, and the noise, they might be a bit distracted. But
let's hope not. Well, I tell you what, let's meet the teams that we are going to see in the Vision Assistance Race. For this evening then, for our final qualifying session this evening, lining up on the Vision Assistance Race, we are seeing 3 teams here. Opta Heroes, AI and iRider will be competing. Let's find out a little bit more about the pilots.
Assistance task, and let's take a look at who is lining up for this competition. On track number 1, we welcome from Austria aus Österreich, Team Opta Heroes and pilot Bernhard Schuldig.
Mein Name ist Bernhard Schuldig. Ich habe eben als erster Blinder in Mitteleuropa ein Chemiestudium erfolgreich abgeschlossen.
Mit Bernhard haben wir jemanden, der sehr, sehr motiviert ist und sich immer wieder Zeit nimmt, Tests durchzuführen, was auch nicht unbedingt wenig Aufwand ist. Insofern sind wir recht glücklich.
Das Herausforderndste ist dieser Weg, den man da gehen muss, wo man im Grad bleiben muss.
And we welcome on track number 2 from France. That is Team AI and pilot Salomé Nashid.
Ok, bah vas-y, on lance le système, on attend encore un peu.
Je m'appelle Salomé Nashid, j'ai 28 ans. Je suis quasiment non-voyante depuis la naissance à cause d'une maladie génétique qui s'appelle l'amorose congénitale de Leber. Pour moi, c'est une très belle initiative de sensibiliser beaucoup de personnes au handicap visuel. C'est aussi l'occasion d'encourager les avancées technologiques qui permettent de créer des dispositifs d'assistance pour nous aider au quotidien.
Mes thématiques de recherche adressent la substitution sensorielle et l'augmentation sensorielle, plus spécifiquement en utilisant le vecteur haptique, c'est-à-dire le sens du toucher, afin de véhiculer des informations complexes.
Les entraînements se passent très bien et sont source de beaucoup de plaisir.
1, 2, 3, et allez!
And completing this first qualification on track number 2, we welcome from Hungary, Team iRider and pilot Peter Soljok.
Team iRider comprises of researchers, students and staff from Pazman University, where computer science and engineering are seamlessly integrated with molecular biology, neurobiology and medicine. The mobile app that our solution is based on is called Let's See, which we have been working on for quite some time, and we made it available for visually impaired users worldwide, enhancing various aspects of their daily lives. Peter Soljok, our pilot, lost his sight at the age of 17.
2022-ben kerestek meg azzal a fejlesztők a Pázmány Egyetemmel együtt, hogy bővítve a Let's See app tudását, és egyúttal meg is próbálva azt, jelentkeznének a CYBATHLON versenyre 2024-re a VIS kategóriában.
Well, we have met the pilots now then. All that's left to do is get our qualifying underway here for our final sessions of the day on Saturday at CYBATHLON. Julia, obviously, you know, the final preparations here with the teams all around the pilots, making sure that they are ready to go with the devices that they are using, and all of them with diverse devices, I would say.
definitely a lot of really diverse devices. I really like how the teams put different focuses when they were developing the devices. So for example, iRider here really tried to develop a very affordable and accessible technology, whereas other teams were focusing more on the newest technology, having very fancy, state-of-the-art approaches.
Yeah, it's very different, and it'll be interesting to see how it all works. So yeah, for example, I can download the app that they've created then, but that iRider created, potentially.
Absolutely, you can. It's available on the App Store. I actually checked this morning. And I think it's very nice, and it's really in the spirit of CYBATHLON to make technology and also innovation accessible for everyone.
Absolutely. But technology has to have something to really elevate itself to, and we're always striving to make things better, which is what, you know, the other teams, like you said, iRider have gone for something which is fantastic, but it's accessible, and the others are looking in a different direction. Same direction, but it's just different.
Yeah, I think here it's also worth saying that it's very new technologies, and I think a lot of them are still very much in development, but I'm sure that in the future they will contribute to the life of the visually impaired people.
Let's hope so. That, you know, that's exciting. Developing technology is exciting to see it, and this is the perfect platform to try it out, to show it off, to see if it is going to be effective out on the track. There is quite the atmosphere in here this evening, I have to say. So for Salome here, we have kind of numerous items that we're seeing, Julia. What are we seeing?
Yeah, she has a camera at chest height that is giving visual feedback, and then she also has a smartphone on this like little stick, and that helps her to focus on certain tasks.
We await then the countdown to begin here for the qualifying session to get underway. 1 minute, just over a minute left to go before we start.
I can see that all the pilots are very nervous. I'm looking forward to the starting call.
Have you managed to catch up with them today, Julia?
I did, yes. I think I was in quite a lot of contact with all of them, so I'm a little bit emotionally attached to all the teams.
Of course
so
you are.
Well.
You're very invested in these projects. You've been, you know, working for a long time with these people, these teams, these pilots, and yeah, it's okay if you want to get emotional here. This is the place for it. Don't feel fear of that at all. We definitely want to see the emotion. Okay, it's not long before the start. We can feel the build-up. Less than 30 seconds to go now before we are underway with the Vision Assistance Race. A reminder that we have a time limit of 8 minutes here to complete 10 tasks. And the stadium just being shushed a little so that the pilots can retain their focus. 10 seconds to go. And it's Bernard we see first.
3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, talk to us about this first task then, Julia.
Here in this first task, they're asked to set the table. So they need to bring this tray to the other side and then put the plate and the spoon that you see on the tray in the right position. And then the third part of the task is to actually fill an empty glass with liquid.
And the big challenge here is that bowl is not empty. There is something in the bowl.
Yeah, it's really not empty, so they need to keep the tray horizontally. And that's also a very challenging thing to do. And here you can see the empty glass. It needs to be filled afterwards up to a certain mark.
So Bernard doing really well here, just to put the tray down really delicately.
And I think here
very
it's very
composed.
Very interesting to see as well how like something that is quite trivial for us can be very challenging for Bernhard now.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Okay, so tell us about the devices that he's using now to assist him here.
So now he's using a phone to scan the table, and the idea is that he will try to find a spot on this white like sheet of paper to place the dish.
You can see there are a little bit of nerves here, and that is completely understandable.
Yeah, the team told me before that this is the task they struggle the most with, so I'm curious to see how they do today.
Okay, so he places it down. He finds the cup here.
And you can also see that he has some headphones, so he's getting acoustic feedback from his phone.
Okay, so
Oh, he's shaking.
Yeah,
Must be the nerves.
Yeah, it's absolutely the nerves, and you can completely understand it. It's the first qualifying session. We're in this huge stadium. He's doing really well, though, Julia, isn't he?
He is. He's making sure now that it's really filled up to the mark. Go, Bernhard. Here it's also interesting to say that Bernhard actually never used a smartphone before the CYBATHLON competition. He was relying on a blind shell phone, which has been designed for visually impaired people.
Wow. Okay, now we're with Salome, who's making her way forward.
And Peter.
So first task for Peter.
Peter has practiced this task a lot, and I think you can tell. He's very fast.
So he hasn't taken the tray, he's just taken the dish.
Yeah, they don't have to take the tray.
And then he's just...
Yeah, so he is completely relying on himself, so he doesn't use any technology here. And I think it's very impressive how he can listen to the glass being filled and knows exactly when it's completely full.
Yeah, that is definitely well done there from Peter, the iRider team here. And Bernard just moving forward to his next task. So tell us about what Peter is using here, because you mentioned the app, which is readily available, so you can hear it talking. So it's audio commands.
Yes, so he's getting audio commands from the phone. I think you can hear it if you're all very quiet for a sec. So I think you can hear the acoustic feedback. And then he's also relying on a traditional white cane, so just a standard white cane to orient himself in the task space. And now here he has to select the right name out of this panel.
Unfortunately, no, not quite the right one there. But he did pass the first task. You can see there's 10 already completed, and Nasheed has completed the second task. But now we are moving on with Bernard.
Yeah, so here's also scanning the doorbell panel, and it's quite challenging because there's a large variety of names, and sometimes we have multiple names, sometimes we just have a single name, sometimes there's nothing at all. So it's actually quite a challenging task to solve for assistive technology. And this is actually a very useful task for the pilots as well, because it's something they encounter very often in their everyday life. For example, if you go to the doctor or if you visit a new friend.
Okay, we're on to a different task now. Tell us what's going on here then.
So here Salome needs to scan this tea bag label and then find the correct product in the shelf. And it should kind of mimic a situation where the people go grocery shopping, which is usually a very time-consuming task. And you can also see that all these labels are very similar, which makes it challenging to identify the right one. And I think the biggest challenge often is also that the product itself is not directly written. It is written on the label, but there's also a lot of other information, like, for example, the ingredients or the branding. So that makes it hard to actually find what you need to find.
To decipher what you need to find, absolutely. So with her, the technology that she's using now, you could see that she'd scanned whatever it was with the tablet, with the phone, and now how is that transmitting into telling her what to find?
Yeah, so you can see that she has a backpack, and in the backpack there's a processing unit that processes the information that she gets from the cameras. And then she gets acoustic feedback to what specific label she's looking for.
Okay, and she prepares herself for her next task. We're on 10 points here.
So I think here the camera is scanning the environment and trying to create kind of like a virtual map of the environment so she can navigate the space.
Pass.
And she has passed that previous task, and that is 20 points now.
Very good.
For Team AI, as we move back to iRider.
Yes. So here Peter needs to find a specific object on the ground. And this kind of mimics a situation in your everyday life where you maybe misplace an object. So usually people with a visual impairment try to keep their living space very tidy, but sometimes that's just not possible. And here we try to enforce the teams to develop a technology that enables you to find objects.
Okay, so he's bending down here. We kind of had a look at the training sessions earlier in this week when they were having a look at these tasks. See if we can listen in.
He already has it.
He already got it. He's too fast for us. Okay, so Peter will move on. But first he has to put the object into the bowl.
Yes, correct. But he's doing a really good job at this too. Okay, this task is very challenging, so I'm curious to see how he does here in the next one.
So you can see with two of our pilots, they're just wearing socks, no shoes. What difference does that make?
There are. I think it's easier for the pilots to feel the starting and finishing lines because they need to be able to orient themselves on the task space, right? And also here, for example, you can see that it's easier for him to feel where he needs to start. So this is the reason for it.
Okay, so this one then is the footpath, yes?
Yes, correct. So here they need to navigate this path, so they're not then allowed to like touch the ground around the path, and they're not allowed to use a standard Y cane. And we can hear some acoustic feedback from the smartphone.
Yeah, you can see just Bernard from Opta Heroes is bypassing quite a few of the tasks there.
Yeah, they told me earlier during the training session that they're very much under time pressure, and I think they're quite nervous as well. So yeah, it's the first round in the arena.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully second pass, we'll see a little bit of improvement and those nerves would have calmed. Let's listen in to Peter.
Oh, it's so close. Amazing. That was so close. My heart was
He's done such a good job here because that is really complex.
It is very
as a challenge, Julia. Oh, and okay, he is bypassing.
Yes. Oh, the touch screen.
Okay, so the touchscreen, which replicates so much that we see in everyday life. If you're not using a computer to buy something anywhere out, then you know you're just not part of the current existence, because everywhere now requires these things. And for Peter, he has to find a specific item here.
Yeah, he needs to find the salad. But I'm always super impressed by this task because I can't even see where the salad is from this distance. And I think the most challenging part is actually to get the pilot to press the right button, so like navigate where the finger needs to go.
So difficult. We just see Nasheed has also bypassed a few.
Fail.
It's a fail here for Peter. We'll give you a rundown of exactly the passes and fails once he completes.
Okay, so here's passing the task too.
Okay, so all three of the pilots then through, and now the arena can pump out some noise. They have respectfully stayed very quiet through the first qualifying session.
Yeah, I think they all did really great.
Yeah, they did. They're difficult challenges, Julia, and like you said, different technology, and it's the first one. There's a few nerves there. Yeah, there's a lot to factor in here, as we've seen with the other disciplines as well.
Absolutely. And I think here, like, every little small change in the environment really affects their technology. And
you can see there on the screen the points awarded then, with Peter with 30 and Nasheed with 20. And Bernard not scoring any points on this first qualifying, but they do get another opportunity, and that's the important factor. So they do get another chance to do it again. Let's take a look back at some of the moments then. He did such a good job here at the opener, and a couple of people had different tactics there. You didn't have to carry the tray, some just carried the bowl.
Yes, I think we saw a lot of different approaches to solving the tasks.
Which is good to see, because you know the team and as well as the pilot are looking at these tasks and finding the most efficient way to get through them and a way that works for them.
Here you can also see Peter measuring the distance to the objects using his wide cane. So here you can really tell that he practiced a lot. That was incredibly fast.
Yeah, that was super fast. We were trying to listen in and we were caught out completely by that. Oh, that was such a shame for Bernard. This was, you know, one of the most impressive ones to watch because he was very quick, but it was very close at that point there. Made Julia gasp. Okay, let's head out onto the arena floor then and catch up with Abby.
Bex, thank you. Well, CYBATHLON 2024 is 4 years of hard work since the last event, but the idea actually originated in 2013. Robert Riener from ETH Zurich. Here is the history of CYBATHLON.
The CYBATHLON. This is the world's first bionic game.
This is actually about improving real life.
Une épreuve expérimentale qui repousse un peu plus loin encore les limites du corps humain. Regardez le CYBATHLON.
It's amazing what has been developed now after 11 years. It was maybe a crazy idea, and it's amazing to see the idea became real.
The purpose of CYBATHLON is really great. It motivates the researchers and developers to develop assistive technologies with and for the people with disabilities. And this is, since years, very meaningful and still kind of the DNA of CYBATHLON.
It's my heart project. It's something I did the last 9 years to do something meaningful, to really develop something that people amazes. For me, it has a lot of positivity.
These three people have shaped and influenced CYBATHLON for years. It all started in 2013 with a crazy idea from a brilliant professor.
At the beginning, the problem was that people said, "Are you crazy? That won't work. You won't get enough teams. Maybe television does not want to make a freak show out of it," and so on.
I remember when Robert came into the laboratory announcing the CYBATHLON in 2013. He showed us his ideas, and this was the first contact point with the CYBATHLON project. So yeah, at that time it was a bit weird, let's say, a weird new idea of our professor. But yeah, it turned out to be very cool. And some months later, I took over some responsibility for developing the competition together with many people.
And this was developed from a single competition to a movement. We came up with this challenge format and it was quite successful. We initiated a school project in Switzerland, and we developed in the last 8 years a huge platform for people with disabilities, for society and for researchers and developers.
2 new disciplines have also been added. There are now 8 disciplines in total, but there were also many problems to be solved over time, such as the corona pandemic.
When we had to postpone the event in March 2020, it was a crazy decision we had to take. We were so close to the event that was planned for May 2020, and then Annie came up with the idea to make a remote event.
Welcome everyone to CYBATHLON 2020 Global Edition. Because of the pandemic worldwide, the teams could not come here.
2020, we were forced to hold the CYBATHLON in a closed environment with everything broadcasted to the remote hubs all over the world. We did not really want to do it because we wanted to have the celebration in the stadium, but we had to do it. And now we are very happy that we did it like this.
For us was really a great race.
Yeah, it was going extremely well.
Yes, I'm glad about it, and for me and for the whole team.
It was a great effort from Roland Siegrist and Annie Kern and the entire team to make it happen like this. And now we benefit from it because now we can organize a hybrid event where we have teams in the stadium, which are important for the live atmosphere, but also other teams who are not able to travel because maybe they don't have enough money or their pilots are too much handicapped. So now we can connect them with our remote broadcasting structure, and this is also a way of inclusion.
Mihic for Croatia, Nishka and Fossati of Sweden and Italy are already away, working their way through all of the challenge.
I hope that it will be the same atmosphere like in 2016. It was such a great, positive and emotional atmosphere. I always say it was, for me, a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and maybe it's, how do you say it in English, a twice-in-a-lifetime experience.
We are joined by Annie Hearn, the co-leader of CYBATHLON, who you've just seen in that video. And I'm going to pick up on something you said, Annie, straight away, that you hope this event would replicate some of the emotion of 2016. Has it done that?
Yes. Definitely.
Plus some?
Yeah, I think so. So when the leg prosthesis race final started, I started to cry, as I did in 2016 when the whole event started. So I was standing there crying and I thought, yes, that's twice in a lifetime experience.
Well, you and me both. I have to say that I've never actually cried on live television. It was the first, and I just choked up in the arm prosthesis race. And it is so emotional. It's so impactful. It's so full of purpose and spirit. And then sometimes something just like pierces your heart, and it's incredible. So I understand the feeling. I can relate to it immensely. We spoke at the beginning, just before anything kicked off here yesterday morning, and you were saying, oh gosh, this is overwhelming, so much preparation. How are you feeling now, nearing the end of day 2?
I'm feeling very well, very good, and I'm extremely tired, I think, like the whole team. So the team is doing such a great effort. It's amazing how everyone works to a common goal, how everyone supports us. The atmosphere is so good. Everyone respects each other. Everyone is having fun. I think it's just great.
You've seen that, haven't you, with the volunteers and then the referees and the pilots. There's such a spirit. You know, they're obviously wanting to win, of course. This is years of practice. But then at the end, it's like they've all won. It's really a wonderful, inclusive spirit.
Yeah, I think so too. So yeah, they sometimes complain a little bit, but in the end, they are congratulating each other. They are with each other. They are celebrating with each other. So this is what we wanted, and I think we achieved it.
Annie, what have been the challenges that you've had to overcome? I mean, this is usually an ice rink, so that was one challenge immediately.
Yes, this was a huge challenge because on Tuesday it was still a little bit wet on the floor, so we managed this, and we see what we have to manage tomorrow in the stadium and around the world, but I think we can manage it.
So what can we look forward to tomorrow?
So tomorrow we have the Exoskeleton races. Unfortunately, we couldn't have them today. But yeah, and the finals of the other 4 disciplines, and I think they will be as emotional as today. And then we are done with CYBATHLON 2024, and I think we are all gonna go celebrate.
Yeah. And celebrate, and can you get some recovery? Or do you go straight back into planning what's next?
Yes.
Just a little bit of recovery.
Yeah, exactly. Tuesday and Wednesday I recover, and then I have to go back.
And a little Aperol spritz before recovery, I think, as well. Well deserved.
Thank you.
Annie, thank you so much. We have got the second qualifying run of this VIS race, otherwise known as Vision Assistance Race. And hopefully, Bex, all the nerves have slightly calmed down slightly. But before we get on with that and hand you back to the commentators, let's just take a short break.
Mein Name ist Michel Fornasier und für mich hat die Zukunft längst begonnen. Mir ist es wichtig, dass Technik der Menschheit dient, sie unterstützt, ihnen Hand bietet und den Alltag so erleichtert. Fortschritt ist Lebensqualität, welche man mit gutem Gewissen auch nutzen darf. In dieser Hinsicht ist EKZ für mich ein verlässlicher Partner, denn sie bieten Lösungen, die mich begeistern.
Willkommen zu Hause, Michel.
EKZ gestaltet Energiezukunft und versorgt zuverlässig, ökologisch und günstig mit Strom. EKZ, stolzer Partner des CYBATHLON.
The second qualifying run then of the Viz Race is about to come up. So I will hand you back to Julia. First of all, though, Bex.
Thank you very much, Abby. Yes, second qualifying coming up.
I'm so nervous.
But are you as nervous for the second run as you were the first? Because we're hoping the pilots' nerves have calmed down a little now.
I'm honestly more nervous now because I know they can do it. So I want to see them succeed in the tasks.
Of course. You mentioned before, we were just chatting while we were taking a break there, that in training you have seen them complete far more tasks than they did right there and then. And I'm totally going to put that down to nerves.
Absolutely. I think it's really the nerves.
Peter then getting himself ready, everyone getting himself ready. Just quickly, because we're seeing Salome here with the covering over her eyes. Why is that, Julia?
Yes, so all the pilots are legally blind, so they all have a visual impairment, but there are different, being legally visually blind doesn't mean that you don't have any vision at all. So some people can still see some bright spots and things like this. So she has to wear these eye covers because she still has some kind of residual vision, although it's very limited.
Okay, that clears that up. Okay, Bernard. He is going to be the first to go. We've got about 2 minutes until we're underway with our final qualifying session here. And we're just going through the riders again, who we have in place. And a reminder, we have 3 teams here who are competing: Opta Heroes, AI and iRider. Hopefully, knowing what they've gone and done on the first one, knowing where the faults lay, and for some it'll just be the nerves at the start, hopefully is going to help. But we talked about this at length, Julia, haven't we? The collaboration between the pilots and the teams behind the devices. They want to show it off to the best of the ability, the pilots, and that's an extra pressure.
It is, yes. I mean, it was a very user-centered design for all of them, so they really developed the devices with the teams over months, if not years. So there is a lot of pressure on the pilots.
50 seconds to go then before we get underway with the second qualifying session for the Vision Assistance Race. And the quiet falls across the Swiss arena here to make sure that they have full attention on what they're doing. There's no distractions.
Yeah, we can really feel the tension in the air.
Yeah, do you know what? It actually, without the sound, it does actually ramp up the tension just a little. You can see the countdown clock then. 20 seconds ready now to go for Opta Heroes. And it is Bernard who is going to be first to tackle the 10 disciplines in front of him. A reminder that 8 minutes is the time limit.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. That's fail.
So I think here they strategically skip this task.
Okay.
Because they only have 8 minutes, like you emphasized before, and they need to choose which tasks they want to do in these 8 minutes.
Okay, so we move on to the doorbell challenge then.
Yes, so here you can see this little white card on the table. The card indicates the name he has to look for in the doorbell. So he's now finding his way into the door. And up he goes.
Okay, and now then he has to find that corresponding name.
He does, yes. So you can see that he's taking his smartphone. And they have this 3D printed accessory for the smartphone to orient themselves on the panel.
Okay, let's see if he'll be able to effectively find what he is looking for here. This is the second task he's moved on to. He's bypassed the first.
I love this idea, it's great.
So exactly what is it doing there then with that extension?
So I think it just helps him to actually find where the names are written, because for him it's probably difficult to find the locations where the names are, and this just helps him to focus on the right spots in the panel.
Okay, so we're underway with AI now, Team AI, and we're on this, first task called Dish Up.
Salome is doing great. She's also relying on her senses to listen to the filling of the glass. Oh. I think she's getting prepared for the second task already.
And we're just waiting for the green flag to be held aloft because it looks like she has completed the task, but she does need to cross that line before we see the points awarded. And she's starting to move. And Peter also underway.
She's asking for help.
That's... Oh, it's... There is something wrong here. This is disappointing.
I'm not quite sure what happened.
Je sais pas. Il s'allume, mais the casque, the audio casque, the Bluetooth had a problem.
That's a shame.
That is a real shame because she did so well on that task.
She did. She was very fast as well. But
Okay, let's move on then. He's passed the first task, Peter, for the iRider team.
Peter moving very confidently towards the door.
Okay, and using then his app to be able to identify what he's trying to find here.
So he's trying to position the phone to have the best possible view of the panel. And
successfully done it. This is a tricky one, this next challenge, because he's got to locate the empty seats here.
He does, yes. So here we are mimicking a situation that you would have, for example, in public transport or in the cinema, where you need to find a seat to sit down, but you don't want to touch the people in the other seats to find out where the empty seat is.
Yeah, this is a good point. And then you can see just ahead of him there are blocks on a table, and he needs to mark out with the blocks exactly where the empty seats lie.
Exactly, yes. So using this display, he indicates to the referees where he thinks the empty seats are. And this, I think, is also interesting. So here's positioning himself in the middle, behind the last row, to again scan for the empty seats.
Taking his time here, making sure he's going to get it right. And he moves. Let's see if he does get it right.
Yeah, that's pretty confident.
And that is 30 points, apologies, now for iRider team. Okay, let's go back to Bernard.
So I think here it's again the nerves.
Yeah, like you said, he did so well earlier on.
He did, yes. And I also really love how innovative their device is. So you can see all these little tiny cameras on the rolling cane.
Oh, such difficult sights to see here on the track.
That just breaks my heart. I don't know.
Yeah, Salome and Ashid here just being hugged by the team. So we're back with Bernard, who is... He's determined, isn't he, Julia? He is determined. He wants to complete some of these tasks. The nerves maybe have got the better of him in this situation. But there is such an amazing determination here.
Yeah. And we're back with Peter in the finder task.
Yeah, so he has to pick up an object then. So he takes the lid off the box. It reveals what object he needs to find on the floor. And then he has to go and find it.
Yeah. Yeah, and what I really love about their technology and the way that Peter solves his task is that he really relies on his skills. Like, you can really tell it's a combination of the app and Peter together that make it successful.
Okay, again, that's strong. He needs to now place the item in the bowl. Which he does.
Oh.
And he crosses, and it is the green flag, and more points in the bag. Okay, we're back with Opta Heroes now.
Okay.
Yeah. So he has to find the fruit salad here.
He does have to find the fruit salad. You can see the little sticker he has on his finger. This helps the algorithm to identify where the finger is. Okay, and we have Peter.
Just making the first tentative steps on the footpath.
What's this?
Oh. Oh, he doesn't seem happy.
No, you can really sense the frustration here.
Ja, was soll man denn sonst jetzt noch?
Okay,
ja.
Passt schon.
Okay, scheiße.
Passt schon, alles gut.
Nein, es ist nicht gut.
That's such a shame to see because, as you mentioned, you know, in training it had gone a lot better, but unfortunately under a little bit more high pressure here in qualifying, it just hasn't gone the way he wanted it to.
But I love how supportive the teams are. They're really trying to cheer him up, trying to make the best out of the situation.
Of course. Okay, we move on. We pass this task. And that's the beauty of the team spirit. You know, they're all in it together.
Absolutely. So this task is very challenging, as we saw before. Curious to see how they do.
So if we listen in here.
I think he's still positioning the iPhone. Oh no!
Oh no, it's dropped. Okay.
And now we can
just hear the instruction.
Correct.
Hey, correct. He's done it.
Well, it's so impressive, isn't it? I mean, the items are so small.
Very, very small, and he was so patient there. That is the last task failed, but it is 60 points accumulated for Peter Soyuk and Team iRider. So he should go through to the final.
Yes, he should.
And now we can hear the crowd and our Salome disappointed. You know, we have two differing reasons there. For Bernard, he became a little bit overcome with nerves. For Salome, she completed that first task, but for some reason or other, there was a bit of a disconnect with the device.
Yeah. But I think, I think here you can really feel the competitive spirit, but I think she still did a great job.
Yeah, she did.
And we'll see, maybe it's even enough for the finals.
Yeah, let's see how it all pans out then. But that is our final qualifying session of the day here. Let's take a look at some of the moments here. And this was the task she'd done so well on. And for Peter, second time around on that path, not so strong.
Yeah, I mean, it's very tiny movements in this, right? They really have to make these tiny little steps, very careful. And if you're nervous, I think that's just so challenging.
So challenging, and definitely nerves have played their part in this qualifying session. We have seen that. But also calmness and composure. We've seen a great result for Peter here, and the highs and the lows of competition shown right in front of you.
Peter is also a stand-up comedian, so I think he's maybe used to perform as well.
Exactly, you know, he gets up on stage, he's used to a crowd very much. So Peter taking the maximum points of 60, and then Nasheed on 20, and Bernard there not scoring any points on the qualifying run. Let's cross out to Abby.
Bex and Julia, thank you. We are joined by Peter and Peter's two teammates. We've got Victor and we've got Christoph. And we just want to say, first of all, a huge congratulations, because that is a very, very difficult challenge.
Yes, indeed. It is not only difficult, but also challenging and stressful. And everyday life shouldn't be stressful. That's what we're working for, to make less stressful the everyday life for visually impaired people.
And you're speaking on behalf of Peter because you can speak English and you speak it very well. But tell us about this device, which is an app, and it's iRider, it's your name of your team, and Let's See is the app. And it was really successful there, despite the stress.
Yeah, this is an app that we started developing years ago, even before we learned about CYBATHLON. But this really gave a huge boost to the development. We got inspiration to develop this app more than 10 years ago, actually from my late PhD supervisor, Tomáš Roška, gave us an inspiration to develop technologies for the, visually impaired people and for all disabilities. And we are very proud to actually have 3 teams at CYBATHLON, at this CYBATHLON from our university.
That is really quite something, and you talk about pride and the importance of pride, and it's a visceral feeling inside this arena. It's just incredible. But how proud of you are you of Peter as well? Because under this kind of pressure, it's quite something what he achieved.
Yes, indeed, a very large part rests on his shoulders. And when you have to deliver on the track, it's only upon him. We can prepare in advance and try to provide a technology. And well, all the colleagues and the whole team worked through late hours, but it is only on him this time.
And Peter goes around the country giving lectures and improving awareness. He's also a stand-up comic, and how important is that attitude really, and that positivity to what you're trying to achieve?
Actually, absolutely yes. So he's a very positive person. I think many of the visually non-impaired or sighted people could learn from him to be cheerful and also to be optimistic, and also how to approach life. And he delivers this message not only to adults but also to children. So that's a fantastic endeavor and a mission.
Well, from all of us, to Peter, of course, and to the iRider team, congratulations. We'll be seeing you in the final.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. A very well-deserved round of applause from the arena here in Cloten. Bex, what an extraordinary day of CYBATHLON 2024 we've had.
It has been an extraordinary day, and we've got one more day to go, Julia. Julia's emotional here.
I'm a little bit emotional, yes.
Very emotional here alongside me, but it has been a day of raw emotions out there. We've really seen the highs and the lows of competition out there, you know, the disappointments, but we've also seen the euphoric and ecstatic moments from the pilots, from the teams, and the support here, Julia, has just been amazing. It's been a great atmosphere all day.
Absolutely, yes. I loved how everybody started shouting Salome once she finished the race, just to support her despite this difficult situation. And I think the teams did great, all of them. So it's been a very emotional race.
It has been. We'll be back, of course, for more vision assistance qualifying tomorrow and the final day, Abby.
We will indeed. So what can we look forward to on the final day of CYBATHLON 2024?
Starting the day strong with impressive robotic exoskeletons mastering the challenges of the race. They're followed by the vision assistance race, where the pilots overcome everyday challenges.
So we have got the finals tomorrow. It's the final day of this global series of CYBATHLON 2024. We've had an extraordinary day today. It has really been, as you heard Bex in commentary say, and Julia as well, an emotional day, but one full of determination, resilience, hope, optimism. So much hard work has gone into it, and it's just a pleasure and privilege to be a part of it. We'll see you tomorrow morning.